Welcome to the Fantasy Football Garage. I'm Chris the Candyman, and you already know what time it is. We're drafting best ball teams. Tonight, we're going to be getting into who knows, whatever we can fill, whether it's a best ball mania, an eliminator, a sprint, a marathon. Let's just see what we can get into. We're going to be drafting some teams. I actually just entered a 30-second Best Ball Mania, waiting on 3. So this seems like the one to get into. If you're new to the channel, if you're watching this in the future, make sure you're subscribed. We're going to be drafting Best Ball teams all summer long. Get here in the chat, interact, get your questions answered, talk Best Ball strategy, Dynasty, anything, redraft. We got it all. We got it covered. Some really sharp people that hang around this channel, and we're just here to have a good time, to learn, to draft some teams, see if we can take down a $2 million tournament. Without further ado, let's kick it to the intro. But overall, it's like the guy can ball, like actions speak louder than words. What's going on, guys? How we doing tonight? What up, Chris B? Hope you're having a great Saturday, kicking off Memorial Day weekend. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate the kind words, my man. On real time, Thad. Hashtag QBs matter. 100%. You already know. We appreciate QBs in this channel. We got Bindles, the stud, my main man, co-host of the Ballsy show, Monday night, 8:30 p.m. Central on Bindles' channel. Link in the description. Make sure you're subbed. I know you already all are. We're going to be there. And we have an extra special guest. I don't know if we're announcing it yet, but we've got a guest for the Monday night show. And it's someone you know. It's someone you love. It's going to be a great time. So we're going to be drafting a Best Ball Mania Monday night. We're going to get ballsy. Shout out to Chris Mazzone on Twitter and in the chat. Hilarious thread today. I was late to the party on the whole Gilbert Arenas thing. I don't know how I missed it last night, but I noticed it today, and I noticed it first and foremost from Chris's thread, and then I had to like piece it all together. Hysterical. So appreciate that. Always a good, always something new in the best ball community. You know, there's always something going on. That was funny. Yeah, what up, Bindles? What up, Nick Bach? WTF? What's going on? What up, Putt Daddy? How we doing? What's going on, Putt Daddy? Make any good plays for the Charles Schwab? Actually, I guess I've been wearing the Charles Schwab hat all week. I didn't throw it on tonight. I didn't make it out this year. My brother is gone. He went Friday. He lives in Fort Worth. He went Friday, and I don't know if he went today, but I didn't make it out this year, unfortunately. One of my favorite tournaments to go to. Really, really nice country club, the Colonial, and great venue. Let's see if Scheffler can pull it off. Let me know what picks you made and what's going on there. What up, Tyler? How you doing tonight, my man? Hope you're having a great weekend. Steve, what up, brother? Hope you're doing great too. What draft is this? We just got into a 30-second best ball mania. And more to come. More to come too. Yeah, haven't seen much of it. I will be honest too. I've been following the leaderboard. I haven't seen a whole lot. I watched some highlights after Thursday. I barely saw Friday. Today I tried to watch a little bit live and just got busy. Just, you know, kiddos woke up from nap the minute I sat down to try to watch what Scheffler was up to. And then I lost the battle for the TV. I think we were watching Baby Shark. So, you know how my afternoon went. I do want to watch some highlights and really see more shots after I finish the stream tonight. I'll probably do that. And it's all about Sunday anyways. So it'll be fun to follow. Yeah, for sure, Steve. We'll do a few. Who Hames, you're supposed to be heading to bed, my man. I know you've been streaming, you've been in the chats. Hope you're having a great weekend, man. I know you're working hard. Appreciate you being here. Let's do an Amon-Ra team. Feels like the one. Oh, let me update too. So I don't know. It looks like I recognize T-Mart. I don't know if I recognize anyone else. So this just could be an interesting one. Let me go ahead. I just uploaded my CSV with the best ball overlay. Let's see what's cooking. Amon-Ra teams. I'm going to filter to just Best Ball Mania, which is a smart thing to do. Oh, hell yeah. I've got 3 Amon-Ra teams already out of like 25 or whatever I'm at. Do I have any AJ Brown? Nope. Do I have any Achan? No. Do I have any London? No. McConkey? Yes. And then T-Mac as well. I'm just going to take an AJ Brown. Achan seems also like a good combo. Should I go London? I'm going to go AJ Brown. I like AJ Brown more than London. Just straight up. I don't think I have this combo yet. It is a nice spot to take London. I bet the Puka drafter would take London if he knows what he's doing. Definitely a combo I want to have. If I think about, yeah, there you go. If I end up getting 12 and a half Puka teams, I'm going to want London on as many as half of them or more, probably. Seems logical. Decent start. Yeah, appreciate you, Hames. Going to the U.S. Open in a couple weeks. Very nice. Very nice, Steve. We'll have to get some live reporting. What day of the week are you going? Are you going on Sunday? Are you going to be going earlier in the week? I typically go to tournaments earlier in the week. I like to watch it on TV on Sundays, but it just, you know, whatever you can get into. I think I obviously I've never been to Oakmont Country Club, but I think it's a pretty historic site. It's a fun one to go to from what people talk about, like going to Oakmont. So that should be a lot of fun. Let me know the details. Yeah, very nice. Oakmont, a great site to host the US Open this year. I will be looking forward to that one. Oh, Nick, you have no idea. You have no idea. We're a big Baby Shark family over in this household. Somewhat unfortunately, but it's not the worst thing. Friday and Sunday? That's nice. That's nice. So you're going to be out in PA for a little bit, probably for that whole weekend then. That sounds fun, man. Nice. What up, Reflect the Sun? How we doing tonight? Oh, sweet. Yeah, I got family out there. Nice. Yeah, I love going to golf tournaments with my brother and my dad. Me and my dad went to the Houston Open this current year that Minwoo Lee took down, but we went on, gosh, I want to say it was Thursday. It was Thursday. It was raining. We had our umbrellas. We followed the Scheffler group for about, and he teed off late. So originally we were following the group that was Rory McIlroy, Wyndham Clark, and Sung J M. Followed them for a few holes, hung out on some of the par threes, and watched some different groupings played through, and then we went and saw Scotty Scheffler's group. Uh, I think no, actually, it wasn't. It was Sung J M was playing with Scheffler on Thursday. In the first group, it was actually McNeely. I want to say it was McNeely playing with Wyndham Clark and Rory. I kind of forget, but we saw them all. We saw all the names. We followed Scheffler. It was definitely Scheffler and Sung J M on Thursday. We followed them around for probably the entire back nine, which was awesome. And then Scheffler really turned it on Friday. We weren't there for that, but yeah, going to a golf tournament with family is a great experience. I try to go to a couple tournaments a year. I don't know what the schedule looks like right now because of just having the newborn at home and all that kind of stuff. That's why I didn't make it out to Fort Worth for the Colonial. Either one of these next picks, I'm really excited about. I'd take McLaurin or Rice here. You can see my exposures, 20% to each of them. I've got them ranked much higher. I've got McLaurin 24th overall, Rice 25th overall, and I'm picking pick 33. I have the option to go either one. I also have Brees ranked fairly high. I mean, Amon-Ra and AJ Brown. I think I go McLaurin. I like them both a lot. I'm going to go McLaurin because I don't see McLaurin fall this late very often. I've been seeing a lot more McLaurin in the first half of the third round rather than the back of the third. And there's a very obvious play for me here, taking McLaurin where I got him versus Rice, stacking him with Mahomes at some point later. It would be around pick 83 or 88, which is not a stretch either. That's fairly within the range of his ADP. But I've got an idea here what I can pull off if I can get lucky. It's not the craziest thing to get who to fall to pick 40, Jaden Daniels. So I'll say it. I don't think anyone in this draft is listening in. Anytime you see purple go off the board, you flinch a little bit. Let's pull it off. Let's pull this one off. Come on. I was saying with Hartman last night, we had a great time drafting, and he and I were talking a lot of strategy. Actually, after the stream ended, we talked strategy for like 30 minutes, just about. And we probably should have just stayed on the stream and brought it up with y'all, but we got really in the weeds. And one of the things we talked about was you only get 12.5 teams in Best Ball Mania if you max on any given first round player, unless you're going to be overexposure to somebody. So imagine you only get 12 and a half Amon-Ra St. Brown teams. How many of those do you logically want to have with Jared Goff? I'll set the minimum at 50%. I want 50% of my Amon-Ra St. Brown teams to have Jared Goff. If they're not going to have Goff, I'd probably want them to have McCarthy. And if they're not going to have McCarthy, I'd want them to have an elite quarterback. Because if Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you take him in the first round, you're saying that is the guy you need to win in week 17. That's the guy who's going to win you the tournament. You got to play this whole thing in reverse. It's like Memento. It's like that movie. You got to start at the end and then move your way to the beginning. If Amon-Ra St. Brown is the guy you need, how many times are you going to want Jared Goff? I think most of the time, at least 50% of the time. Okay. If you don't happen to get Jared Goff, luckily, you could get McCarthy, who obviously has the week 17 game stack against Amon-Ra. You can get McCarthy later after Goff goes. So that's kind of your like break glass in case of emergency. But even more than the percentage of teams I'd want Amon-Ra with McCarthy, I'm going to want Amon-Ra with elite quarterbacks. Lamar, Jaden Daniels, Josh Allen. Because if Amon-Ra is the guy you need in round one, but Goff is not the quarterback you need paired with him, which can happen, you're going to want an elite QB who can outscore Goff. So maybe Amon-Ra has 2 touchdowns, 150 yards, and he's the highest scoring wide receiver on the week. Something around there. Goff's going to have a nice game, but he doesn't have to be the QB1. Jaden Daniels could have a better week And I'm not saying Terry McLaurin has to be the wide receiver one either in that week, although I did pair him up here. So very nice, getting the stack, which I like as well. But essentially, you can imagine that Jaden Daniels could outscore Jared Goff without his Jaden Daniels receivers being the guys you needed too. Well, I've got the stack, so it's kind of nice as it is. But Jaden Daniels has that rushing upside where, he, Lamar, Hurts, Josh Allen, maybe they run the ball in a few times on the ground and outscore Jared Goff. So that's just part of the larger conversation and strategy around drafting like you're right. Drafting like you've already selected the team that's going to win the tournament. How did you win? And so really emphasizing that, because every best ball mania bullet is precious. You're not going to want to waste any. If you're drafting a CD Lamb team, how many times you're going to want Dak Prescott? 75% of the time, at least. If not, elite quarterbacks. And, getting a team, maybe Jaden Daniels is an elite QB, and it happens to be his week 17 matchup. So that's kind of an easy one to explain. I think Justin Jefferson and Malik Neighbors make the most sense for round one wide receivers that you'd want to have an elite QB with if you don't have their stacking QB. Because with Neighbors, we don't know who's going to be in week 17. Is it Dart? Is it Russell Wilson? With Jefferson, we know it's McCarthy, but we've never seen them play together. Is McCarthy going to be worth it? Would you rather have a Jalen Hurts? So that's kind of what I've been thinking through lately. Some of my considerations. I started this one off. It's a 30-second best ball mania. I'm like 25 or 26 in. I lost count, but around there. It's an Amon Ra team. I've got 3 of them already. It's my 4th Amon Ra team. I did get Jaden Daniels. Takes the pressure off. I don't have to take Jared Goff. I might still like to get Jared Goff. Maybe I push him a little bit. Got to figure out where the Jameson drafter goes and what he does with his QBs. He's also got Gibbs. So, the drafter in the 6th spot is looking to take Goff, at a value. I'll have some swings at it before he gets around to it maybe. And then also we'll see where the Laporta drafter ends up going. Kittle's pretty nice here. Get a little fall on Kittle past ADP. I think Harvey is probably the direction I'm going. I'm going to go Harvey here. I'm just way in on Harvey. I'll get him past ADP. I think for some reason he's been kind of falling. It seems like in the last 2 or 3 days, where occasionally you'll still see Harvey going in the end of the 4th round. ADP is early 5th. I've been getting Harvey in the last 2 or 3 days. I've been getting him in the back of the 5th, but I love it. I love it. He's got that Broncos offense. I think he's going to take over and be the workhorse for them, score a ton of touchdowns. They're going to formulate the offense around him. That's what I'm thinking. Got Hartman in here. What's up, brother? How you doing? Oh, nice. Nice. Chambers Bay. When Spieth won it. Oh, shout out to one of my Longhorns, Jordan Spieth. He and I took the same. It was a marketing class in college, which was kind of funny. Very nice. Yeah, that'll be fun, Steve. Good stuff. Copy paste. How you doing, brother? How's your weekend going? Hope you're enjoying this Memorial Day weekend, getting some drafts in. Advanced one of your 3 PJ best ball teams to semis. Other didn't advance by 1.2. Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, I've got a bunch of PJ best ball teams. I'm looking to continue to advance. I've got a scramble team that's almost definitely going to make the finals. I've got another scramble team that could make the finals. We'll see. I'm going to go James Conner. I feel good with my wide receivers. I've got the elite QB. I didn't have to take a running back here, but I like James Conner. I'm high on him. Kamara went a little bit earlier than he usually does. I think this is a perfect time to take James Conner when these wide receivers. Olave could be good. I don't feel like I have to take Olave on this team. He's probably who I would have considered. And then Addison, if Addison was there, I'm a little bit worried about the suspension, but I'm not that worried. So I would have considered Addison there too. But yeah, copy paste. I've got one scramble team that's in first that no one can catch up to. It's going to advance to the finals. That feels nice. I've got 6 other scramble teams in the semis right now. I think only one of the others could potentially advance. It's in second, and it's kind of like going back and forth. So best case scenario, I think I get 3 scrambles to the finals. Most likely I get 1 for sure. And then I've got a few albatross left. But US Open's still a few weeks out, so there's some time on that one. And then the scramble returns, we've got a few more weeks for that. I'm pretty sure that advances June 1st or right after that. So maybe it's just this tournament and the next. Hoping to get at least a scramble returns through. I didn't have a lot of great luck on the scramble returns. I think my exposures were too concentrated, and I kind of wanted it to be that way on the returns. I made a lot of really concentrated bets around certain players, and it seems like for the large part, it's going to be a miss where I would have either advanced a ton of teams or a few teams, and I'm probably in that second scenario where not quite advancing every single one of my teams. Probably going to be lucky to advance to a few in the scramble returns. But I kind of knew going into it, I just wanted to build very aggressively and be highly exposed to certain players. I will be happy, though, if I get a team or two through because I built heavily for the semis and the finals, especially for the finals. So we'll see. But yeah, PGA best ball. It's all going on. Oh, God, that's sick. Yeah, Pebble Beach, one of my favorite venues. Hartman in here. The Erin Hills US Open. Gosh, when was that? Very nice. Yeah, I gotta book travel to a tournament before the year ends because now I'm getting really jealous. I want to go to something. Yeah, some epic spots for sure. Oh yeah. Yeah, if you're ready, jump on, Hartman. Yeah, just a marketing class. I was I took a bunch of business classes at Texas, and Spieth was in the marketing class. The professor was you you could say ecstatic that he got the opportunity to teach Jordan Spieth because even when he was in college, everyone already knew who he was. Everyone, he was notorious. Day one. Pretty sure I go Diggs here. Thinking this one through. Jones wouldn't be terrible. I don't have to do it though. I feel like Diggs is the pick. Lock down my 4th wide receiver in a good range. I don't know what I'm going to do for a Cowboys bring back. Maybe I just don't force it, but looking like it would be tight end or running back at this rate. I hate the fact that Pickens goes so early now. I just don't get the opportunity to take Pickens enough. This one in this draft he goes pick 51. But I'd take him there. If I get I haven't had a pick in between 3 and 5 for a while now. Aaron Jones goes. I'm not crazy about Aaron Jones. I like him fine. I think it made sense with Amon-Ra, and just because, getting that third running back here, it could be a nice spot. I'll have to see if Goff comes back around. I think for my next pick, it's going to be, I would have wanted Mooney there. I have Igbuka ranked aggressively. I might go Robinson instead. I'm going to go Robinson. Even though he doesn't catch the passes, it's just a bet on the Commanders. And if he really is the 1A running back there, and I've already made the big bet on Daniels and McLaurin, this offense is just going to be good. 8th round is not too expensive where I feel bad about being like overexposed to one team. I just think the wide receiver options in this range after Higgins and Mooney go, and Higgins gets pulled up a little bit. So like, I think Higgins at 88, you can justify it. It's a little bit rich, but it's not a bad pick. Same kind of thing with like a Trey Harris, a little bit rich, but not a bad pick. You could do Egbuka. You could pretty much any of those rookies take a swing on him. I would have liked Mooney there. I'm guessing this is the drafter who got. Oh no, I was expecting to see Adams, but Adams must have gone really early. Yeah, there he is. The fact that Terry McLaurin fell to 33. Johnny at 90. It seemed a little bit early. Same thing with Mark Andrews. Let's see. Started this 30-second best ball mania draft with Amon-Ra, A.J. Brown, who I took over Drake, and McConkey. Tyreek Hill goes in the middle of the second round. You don't always see that. I followed it up with McLaurin and Jaden Daniels for the stack. Feels really nice. A good falling value on McLaurin. Grab Daniels. You got to do it. Harvey and Connor, 2 running backs I like a lot. James Conner, famously number 1 in juke rate, number 1 in evaded tackles among running backs in 2024. He's a workhorse guy there. They trust him. They love him. He's always been good when he's healthy. Averaged 95 plus yards, total yards per game. Can catch the ball decently enough well, and I don't see Trey Benson taking over a lot of his workload. I don't see it. I didn't see enough out of Trey Benson last year to be convinced, and I was high on Trey Benson coming out of college, so high enough. But I think James Conner holds it down for at least one more year. Steph Diggs, let's just hope he's healthy and all those things. Then this is a good bet. I'm hearing conflicting things about Brandon Ayuk, and I don't know if this is old reporting or new reporting. What have y'all heard about Ayuk? Because I was hearing some old reporting, I think, but maybe nothing's changed, from the likes of, maybe it was like Field Yates or somebody else, some actual NFL insiders, big media guys, that Ayuk's timeline to return is going to be in like week 5, week 6, not actually start of the season like Diggs. So that's different. I guess Ayuk's knee injury was more severe than Diggs was, although it was the same timing injury-wise. Jordan Mason here is a smash. I think I feel safe. Let's double check. Right? The Gibbs, Jameson Williams drafters over there. So is the Laporta drafter. No one's going to take Goff from me. I've got the green light to go Mason here. I don't need Baker Mayfield or Caleb or Purdy. And he's my top ranked skill position player available. Jordan Mason. I think I've said it. I've been saying it all along for weeks now, maybe even months. I think Jordan Mason flips Aaron Jones. He's just a better rusher at this stage in his career than Aaron Jones is. They brought him in purposefully. They traded for him, right? I think it was a trade. Maybe not. Maybe I'm pretty sure, but they brought him in purposefully. They liked what he was doing in San Francisco last season when McCaffrey was out. He was good. He was good last year. I had him in a Dynasty Best Ball league. I was pretty ecstatic. Got third in that league. Just didn't win the playoff weeks, but actually, it's a fantasy sanctuary Dynasty Best Ball league that I've been in for 3 years now. So that's shout out to them. I almost shipped it. Almost won that. And it's not even high stakes, so it's all for fun. But Jordan Mason was on my squad, and I also had Chase Brown, and they really came through. I had like almost it's a super flex, and I almost built my team as like a 0 RB team. So having those two guys both hit last season did a lot for me. Man, you got to flinch anytime you see three QBs go. None of them Jared Goff. I had high hopes that Goff wouldn't have been taken unstacked, but you love to see it when a plan comes together. I've got Jared Goff stacked up with Amon-Ra, my first overall pick. Exactly what I wanted. Goes according to plan. Jordan Mason for the bring back. One of my favorite players too. Highly exposed to him. Sprinkle in some AJ Brown. Just a grown-ass man. Can win you a week. Always a good pick. McLaurin also stacked up with Daniels. Diggs, potentially the best receiving option for the Patriots this year. I'm gonna play the late tight end game, and I've got some work to do to build out the rest of my wide receiver group. Although it's especially nice that I've already got my stacks. I've got 4 different receivers on 4 different buys. I've also got a pretty good mix of running backs. So this draft, I'm feeling really good about. Let's make sure we land this plane, kind of plan out some of the next picks, think this one through, and we're in good shape. We're in good shape here for sure. Let's go. I'm in. That's hilarious. I just saw that. Let me fix it up. Let me get you in here. Boom. This. What up, dog?
What's up, Candyman? What's up? Huh? What was that?
How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. How about you?
Yeah, doing good. Doing good. Getting better every
Sorry, I
day.
was running just a little bit late. Eating some dinner and stuff real quick.
Good stuff. What'd you have for dinner?
Oh, I just got some Panda Express.
Panda.
California delicacy.
Oh yeah, I hear it's is that like a local? It's like a local thing. It's like a mom and pop shop, the Panda Express. It's like,
Oh no, it's a big chain. It's just real big out here.
dude, I'm fucking with you.
Oh, I didn't know.
Bro, I had too much Panda Express in college. You got to watch out for the Panda Express.
Yeah.
You get that to go, and it's like you pick 2 different like proteins and then just a ton of rice. It's deadly.
Yeah.
But it's good.
I saw you had a pretty good draft going. Figured I'd come in and help you land the plane.
Hell yeah, perfect timing. I just went on my little rant there, and then I look, and you 5 minutes ago are just sitting there watching me rant. But appreciate you jumping on, man. Let's get back into this. We had some good drafts last night. I think we were cooking, so let's see if we can land this one, and then we'll hop into something again right after and get it going. But what are your thoughts on kind of the theme that I've been talking about so far tonight? Is just the importance of, in Best Ball Mania especially, you've got limited bullets. You're only going to get so many Amon-Ra teams. You're only going to get so many Daniels teams. The ability to stack those guys with their top options and prioritizing that. Luckily, they've kind of fallen to me at ADP, but I want to hear some of your thoughts around, like, are you looking more to kind of risk it and push guys like for the sacks, or are you trying to just take what's there? How do you kind of play those?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were talking about this a little bit like after we got off, I think last night, but I think I'm pretty much with you on that where you really want to prioritize the stack, especially with that first round capital at receiver.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of depends where you are on the board, kind of texture of the board, if you push it or not. I'll keep going in a minute.
No, all good. I think here, gosh, I think just Besh, and then I'm trying to think if anything else makes sense.
Maybe a tight end. Yeah, either Bash or a tight end, probably.
And I might just see if Kraft is there on the way around. This one guy doesn't have a tight end. I feel like if I miss out on Besh, it's a little bit thinner for the
Yeah,
next
and you got a couple options at tight end, I think. So I
right.
think getting Bash was the better call.
Might as
Um,
well just, I don't know. Maybe he
yeah.
fits better.
But like you were saying, so with the like I agree with that early pick, you want to stack it. And I think as far as like pushing it, like where you were, where it was a very long like comeback to get back to you, I think it's better to just grab Goff there, like not try to push him that far because it's not very
Oh
likely he'll
yeah.
make it back. Maybe on like a if it was going the other way on a short turn, I could
Yeah.
see if you really think it's a tier break player, but I think where you were, it's way better to just get your guy right there, solidify two of your top receivers are stacked now. You're done at quarterback. You're like good to go.
Yeah, I think I am done at QB and I'll make up some ground, probably go 3 tight end the way it's looking. And I'm probably looking to take a tight end here, regardless of the fact that somebody just went. Although, I don't know. I don't think it's worth it to grab May here, but it's a little bit of a value on May, about 12 picks past ADP, and I've already gotten Diggs. Do I actually think about taking the third QB, or is that too much capital at QB? And I really should be leaning back into tight end here.
Um, I think it just depends if you feel like these tight ends really separate from the guys you'll get in the next area. Like if you don't feel like it's much of a difference, then maybe the third stack QB is worth it. But if you think it's a big difference, maybe the tight end I would lean, but that's kind of how I would view it.
I think that's smart. I mean, how different is it? Because Ferguson gives me a bring back to my main stack. I think he could be
Mhm.
good. Dallas with Dak, could be good. He's had a kind of disappointing last year, but he's been good traditionally. But is he that much better than guys that are like 2 or 3 rounds later? Should I grab May here?
Uh, I mean, I think you can, yeah.
I'm going to take May
Um,
because it just seems like I want to take what the board gives me. If I can get May
mhm.
12 picks past ADP, and this is a ton of capital into QB. I wouldn't have thought that I would ever go 3 QB with Jaden Daniels and Jared Goff. But just the way that I've already got these stacks built out, it's like, why
Yeah,
not?
and I think, like, I agree, I generally wouldn't put that much capital in, but that third quarterback, when you have him stacked, and especially when it's a guy you believe in, that just kinda can give you another out where maybe you advance the low-owned Jaden Daniels or Goff because they don't have a spike in week 15, but May does, and May with
That's
Diggs'
interesting.
connection does have the spike, right? So, that can kind of advance your low-owned, like, high level player that maybe other people won't have as much of. Because let's say Washington
Sure.
busts in week 15, then like Terry and Jaden are probably gonna be pretty low owned, but you have more outs now to like like you're kind of playing against yourself in a way, but it's kind of also giving you another out to get a low owned piece in such a like a high person amount tournament.
I think that's a really strategic way to think about it. And what that tells me is that I've already made such a bet on Daniels, Robinson, and McLaurin. Probably if Ertz is there and it makes sense, maybe still go Ertz, but
Mhm.
probably maybe not, because what you just said was the whole point of now having May and Goff is to leverage against the other Jaden Daniels teams. And if the Commanders have a bad week, that means Ertz would also have a bad week potentially. So I need to spread out some of my picks onto other teams that could have better week 15 and 16s if the whole thought is, yeah, well, there's going to be Jaden Daniels teams. If the Commander stacks is what you need, then like maybe I've overspent at QB because the other Jay Daniels teams will spend at running back or tight end where I haven't, and then they're going to beat me in those areas. But if, like you said, if Jaden Daniels fails one of these weeks, if the Commanders have a bad week 15 or 16, I have the QBs in Goff and May to compensate. So assuming that's the case, then I wouldn't want to be overstacked into the Commanders. I'd want to stay where I'm at, and I'd actually want to lean more into other game stacks.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I think that could be a good way to look at it. I mean, I do think a little bit with these being a little bit lower price pieces, you could still be like open to Ertz if you feel
Yeah,
like he's clearly a better player than the other guys. But
yeah, it's
yeah,
true.
maybe if it was like Ertz versus Henry or something like that, maybe you lean more towards Henry to kind of build out that second game or second
Okay.
team stack kind of. Like maybe that would be I mean that could be a good way to play it. That's honestly not something I've thought through a ton, but that does make sense what you're saying where if that third QB is giving you another out, maybe you don't want to play all in for that top stack. Maybe that's more one where you go like a Jaden and like Bryce Young and stop at 2 or something, like a, high
Yeah.
elite and then lower owned player. Maybe that would be more where you onslaught the team with the elite.
Pat Bryant goes pick 150. I've got my four running backs, right? So I've got Harvey, Connor, Robinson, and Mason. I can keep pushing the running back. I mean, Eckler is going to be there at some point, and it just kind of makes sense. But no, no, no. Actually, I've gotten Robinson, so I need to stick to that one.
Mhm.
Dorindo's just a fine pick. I probably do need to go, even though it's pick 150. Hunter Henry Ertz likely is a kind of a fun pick.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I would probably lean towards the tight end unless you really like a receiver.
I don't think I like the receivers here enough. Although I look at these teams in front of me, they've got a bunch of tight ends.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I just don't know that I love these. Maybe I go Knoll for just.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Knoll there for some rookie upside. I kind of like what I've been hearing about him, and sometimes he falls, but he could just be good. And the Texans drafted him pretty intentionally. I think on this because I've got all these veterans too, and then I've got now these two rookies. I don't have to get likely on this team. It could be nice if
Mhm.
I don't take a Henry or an Ertz here. And now I'm thinking maybe I should have double clicked tight end on this turn.
That that was kinda my thought with, unless you really did like a receiver over the rest, was actually grabbing 2 tight ends, like, back to back.
I kind
But,
of do like Noel there though, but at the same time, so 160, 177. There's a good chance that Hunter Henry could come back around. I've been seeing him fall, and I don't need
mhm.
him. He's just kind of a nice piece. But then it goes back to like, do I lean into a different game stack by getting Henry than sticking with Ertz? Kind of like I was explaining with like if we think that May gives me the leverage over the other Jane Daniels teams. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
mean, that really is a tough call. I mean, I think do you feel that Zach Ertz is a significantly better play than Henry? Like, he's kind of a tier above?
I think so.
I mean,
I
I
think
would
it's
probably
close.
lean towards that then.
I think it's close, but there's not any wide receivers I want here. And then
Yeah, I think
running
it has
backs,
to be tight end.
yeah, it
With
has to. It has
Eckler
to,
off the board, it has to be tight end.
no doubt. Because yeah, I
Um,
don't need the Eckler piece. I've already got Brian Robinson. I kind of made that bet, which I usually do reserve the right to get Eckler later on my Jaden Daniels teams. Like during the big board, I had like every single Jaden Daniels team I drafted had Eckler because he was practically free in the big board. Um, so I wasn't taking as much Brian Robinson, but I kind of just I think where I took Brian Robinson in this one, it made a lot of sense. I would have
mhm.
taken I would have potentially taken Mooney there or even considered Aaron Jones at 88, but I ended up getting Mason at 105, so it worked out. And then yeah, Mooney went one pick before me.
Yeah, so that I mean, that pick made sense there. I think, like, I agree, like, I put Eckler on a lot of my Jaden Daniels teams or Washington teams in general, but I think when you make the bet on B-Rob, like, I'm just pretty much never, like, handcuffing my guys in
Yeah,
at running back, but like with them both being a little bit lower capital, I don't think it'd be the worst thing, but it's just not something I really ever do.
That's true. Yeah, I think what Reflect the Sun was just
Yeah.
saying is kind of like leaning into or being overexposed to Geno Smith and the Raiders, and then also Penix and the Falcons. I need to figure out how to do that more often. For some reason, the way the board's been falling to me and like the picks that I've had, I just feel like I don't have enough Geno Smith. I'm kind of right at the field amount, and then if I had to look at Penix, like I wish I had more, but I'm pretty sure
Oh, you don't have any.
looks like it was his Best Ball Mania only, right? So I filtered it to Best Ball
Oh,
Mania only. But yeah, still I don't have any Penix. And that's partially because I mean I take a ton of Mooney, at least I try to, but I have Gibbs ranked ahead of Bijan, and then I have like McConkey and AJ Brown ranked ahead of London. So like I'm just naturally slightly fading them, but I don't want to. I need to mix it up more, I think, at some point.
right. And then when you're taking like just Mooney, you don't totally feel confident enough to grab Penix, or you're already kind of set at QB by the time he comes up. Because you've already
Right.
worked on your main stacks. He's kind of more like a backup plan at that point. So
Right.
yeah, I mean that makes total sense. And yeah, like I kind of did the same thing, taking especially like Lad over London at first, but I just think with how the board's falling, that just means like you're gonna have a really big fade on London, which I don't necessarily want to do. Um, but yeah,
There's like
I don't
no
know.
Cowboys
It
left.
is tough with Penix. Oh yeah,
It's all right.
turpentine.
It
That's what
doesn't
they
have to
say.
be. And then it would have been there's always
You
some
get
Vikings late, but I don't
right,
know that I
and
want
then
them either.
you could look at. I was kind of thinking Mason Taylor too at tight
Definitely.
end.
He's already gone though somehow. And so is Braylon Allen, which is
He's
kind
already
of
gone.
yeah, that's
Wow.
crazy. Mason
Oh, he
Taylor
just
just
went.
went. And then also
Oh,
Braylon Allen was gone too, which is not insane, but that's a little bit early, I would think.
yeah, 167. I think it's not super early, but a
It's a
little bit
Fields
early.
team. I don't understand why you would ever take
Oh,
Fields and Braylon Allen on the same team though. They like negatively correlate.
yeah, that doesn't make a ton of sense, especially with Braylon Allen not really being a pass catching back.
He's not a pass
Um,
catching back. Every touchdown that Braylon Allen gets is one that Fields doesn't get.
yeah, like I think you can make the argument with like Brees just because he catches so many passes, even
For
with a
sure.
rushing quarterback, and like you do get the increased efficiency.
Damn.
But with Braylon, where he's more of a grinder, I don't really see it.
Hunter Henry just went as well. Would have been a nice pick. I think I got to go tight end here. Fryermuth has fallen. Just get a
Ironman,
value on a guy
yeah,
like that.
yeah, I think so. I mean,
And
I think he's a good chunk above those other guys.
I think so too. At the wide receivers, it's super flat. I don't love anyone in this range. And the
Yeah,
running backs, I might as well just keep pushing it at this point.
yeah, yeah. I think on this turn you could either grab it. I guess it kind of depends who you like as far as running back or receiver. Because like at receiver, I think you get a guy in the very last round unless you really like one of the guys near the top. And then I think it just depends kind of who you like. I think tight end should not be saved till the very last round,
Sure.
unless you want to get like Jawan or something like that. But because I think you want one more of each, right? Right? You want one running back, one receiver, one tight end, probably.
I think so because right now it's a 3-4-6-2. I could go 3-5-7-3. If not, I could go 3-5 or 6 or 8. And then 2. I'm okay. I wouldn't be completely against stopping with these two tight ends, even though they're late. I only have 2. It's like, hey, Fryermuth, Ertz. I mean, in a good year for both of them, they're both top 12 tight ends. You don't need much more than that.
Okay, right.
But no,
Okay, I can
I'm
see that
open to
then.
it. I think like you said though, you might not want to push tight into the last round, but I'll push it to like maybe my second to last pick. I think this one needs to be either a running back that I really want or like and prioritize, or just take a receiver. But I think the receiver, like I don't think there's anyone here that I need to have.
Okay, then yeah, probably running back, especially
So
yeah.
Dowdle's there, but it's not like his value has fallen so much that it makes it that you have to take him. He's got
Mhm.
the bye week in 14, which kind of matches up nicely. Otherwise, it would be grabbing I don't know, Hunter.
Yeah, not really any correlation, so it's kind of just whatever one you prefer the most.
I guess I just take Dowdle there. I don't really know. I saw some buzz, and maybe it's just not this draft. Maybe it's another draft. But I saw some buzz on Jarquez Hunter. I don't know if you saw that today. It was like behind the
Oh,
scenes
the
of him.
clip.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you see that?
Yeah, the War Room clip. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that earlier. That was that definitely made me want to get some more Jarquez Hunter.
I know, because like McVay was into him. They told him they're going to draft him. I somehow thought for some reason that he went later than the fourth round, but he was a fourth round draft pick. They were really high on him. They traded up to get him. All those good signals. So I've got 17% Hunter, but I could have more. And I think yeah, I had re-ranked him ahead of Corum because I flipped him at some point, but I probably want to put Hunter ahead of guys like Devin Neal even. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's crazy, but
I mean, no, I think you could definitely make that argument because I don't know. It's not like Devin Neal is 100% locked in as the backup like any more than Hunter would be.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I guess maybe Hunter has a little bit tougher path, but he probably has more upside too, especially with the offense he plays in. I
that's
don't
what
think
I'm
that's
thinking is
crazy
like
at
that
all
that
to like.
offense though is just such a good offense for whoever gets the touches, especially the goal line, like red zone touches. Which Kyron's been a beast at converting touchdowns. So I think he still has that role. He just, anything can happen, right? Especially at running back. It's all about the opportunity. I feel like I don't have to take another running back, but I still could. And I could just hold out and end up going to tight end and say, hey, running back upside is better than a third tight end upside. Maybe third tight end is better for floor, but for straight pure upside, maybe an extra running back would help this team more. And then Steve was saying, get a bourbon refill. Very nice, Steve. What are we sipping on tonight? Um, there we go. All right, what do you got, Hartman?
I got actually the Steve special, the Russell's 10.
Let me see that.
Oh, Russell's.
Oh, there you go. Very nice. Very nice. And oops, I figured that out. Boom. Um, ready for the next draft. Hell yeah. I think Hartman, we'll see. We'll see what we can get into at the next one. I definitely want to see if an eliminator, if like a 30-second or even a 20-second eliminator is anywhere close to filling, then I'm kind of interested to do one of those. Otherwise, it could easily be a puppy. I don't know that I'll do another BBM. I kind of like to sprinkle them in, but not to do them all like too much at one time, just to continue so I have more, throughout the summer. But I don't know. This
Yeah,
one
I
actually
think
went pretty nice. So, what was that?
if you can get an eliminator to fill, I mean, I think that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be really
I've been
fun.
liking doing the eliminators. Yeah.
I haven't got enough in yet. I want to get more volume on the Elim. So actually, Jarquez goes. So now I'm kind of leaning back to, I mean, is it Juwan Johnson? Let me just think through. Like
I mean, if
Terrence
you want to go like,
Ferguson's kind of nice.
and we don't really have any correlation, right? That we could get at tight end.
I don't think so. No,
Um,
not really.
no.
Wide receiver wise, I need another wide receiver. Just throwing out some players. I think I got to go wide receiver first. And do I just take a Butte and then get the bring back for the May game, or not the bring back. Well, I guess I could double stack
Uh,
May. I don't have to though. I guess it's not that crazy about. I've already got Diggs.
yeah.
Maybe just take
If
Jawan
you
then.
like, take Jawan first, I think, since you have a lot of receivers that are options. So, I mean, if you like Ty Felton, I think that could be good because it gives us a bring back on the Detroit game. You know what I
Right,
mean?
that's
That's
what I
kind of the
do.
game that we're expecting with the probably the highest overall total in it. So maybe that's the best game to like have a bring back for if we don't already have one. Because you don't have any Minnesota yet, right?
I've got Mason.
Oh, you have Jordan Mason. That's right. That's right.
So
Okay, so
in terms of our options, we could take. I don't think we take another commander. We're covered on commanders with Ertz, McLaurin, and Robinson, even though he's not really a pass catcher.
mhm.
For the Detroit, and then we don't have any Dallas players. So that would say maybe Tolbert. Maybe not though, but maybe. Goff, we've got Amon-Ra and Mason, and that's it. For Drake May, I've got Diggs with no bring back, but there's no Jets that remain.
Oh yeah, no one worth taking.
So no one worth taking. And
Yeah,
maybe we're playing May as like a week 15 or week 16 matchup anyways. I can see
right.
Felton. I'm not out on Felton. I think he's interesting.
Um, yeah, I mean, I would probably lean like Austin, Tesla, maybe, but I think Felton would be good too. There we go.
I'll get
That
Tesla.
was
Why not?
that was the best pick. I didn't want to push it too hard, but that was the guy.
I think it makes sense because I'm just betting more on Detroit in the game total for
Yeah,
week
yeah,
17.
yeah. I
I mean,
think
Felton's similar because it's the same game, but we like Felton might not even have a role. And I know maybe Tesla doesn't have a role either at that point, but at least I have the QB connection. So if he does hit, I get twice the benefit, right?
right, exactly. Yeah, I like that idea. Um,
I'm trying to think
you
it
know,
through.
with Tesla, like I do agree it's a little bit of a thin bet, but at least like Detroit uses a lot of like 11 personnel. So if he can just surpass Tim Patrick, who's really old,
True.
he's obviously fallen off from his prime and stuff. And I feel like Isaac Tesla is kind of like a Tim Patrick replacement. Like he could have a decent role in that offense by the end of the season, especially with the capital they gave up to get him. I think he has a pathway to being wide receiver 3 on that team. Tim Patrick's a decent player, but that's not a ton standing in your way.
Oh, very nice. And that, yeah, I agree with that point. I think I've been in, I've been out on Tesla. It just kind of comes down to the night. It kind of comes down to the draft, the situation. I wanted to double check. So potentially week 8 is a bit of a weakness with my buy overlaps having Besh, and it's going to be for everyone. So it's not even the worst week to have a overlapping buy week. Everyone's going to have a slight issue with week 8, but Tesla,
Mhm.
Besh, Amonra all out in week 8. I have 4 startable receivers to fill 3 spots. Let's say that for some reason Noel has not really captured the role by week 8, which would just suck for this team anyways. But so I'm really leaning on AJ Brown, McLaurin, and Diggs in week 8. And then I guess I could have any of these tight ends hit the flex other than the one who
Mhm.
hits the tight end spot. And then running back wise, I only have James Conner out, which kind of is one of my better bets on running back. But then I guess I could still have Harvey, Robinson, Mason, Dowdle. So, and then 2 QB options. So I guess I'm not like screwed on week 8, but this is some of at least the tight ends aren't out on week 8 too. I've got 3 receivers out of 7. I've got a running back out of 5, and I've got a QB out of. So I guess it's 5 of my 18 players. It could be worse. It could be worse. I try to stay hypercritical of the overlapping buys because I think if you don't, you could just draft a dead team that has such a low floor in a certain week that you really can't catch up. I know it's not like impossible, but you could imagine that if there's 600,000 plus entries, that there's going to be not a perfect dupe of this team. That like this could be a completely unique team, but some of the components of it are going to be duped, and maybe those ones didn't take, so much. Like, imagine if I had 2 other players with a week 8 buy on this squad, like 7 out of
Mhm.
18, then everyone else who has a similar core build but doesn't have that, problem in week 8, like they're going to be more likely to advance out of their pod, and maybe this team like just fails and gets 3rd or 4th because of like a low week, like a really bad week. And that's kind of like maybe too much galaxy branding it, but I've followed enough best ball mania teams throughout like the regular season to advance out of, the first leg, where I've seen like some teams get behind and they play catch up, but they miss out. And it's like if they would have had like one more week, they could have like caught up, but they just couldn't catch up. And maybe it was because of buys or injuries. You just never know. But like I've always felt like that's something you can control at least. And so just being a little bit intentional at the bye weeks, but also
Um,
not letting it take you where like you don't draft a player just because he doesn't fit. Like I still want, like, if there's the ADP, if there's the correlation, like we had Tesla, like I'm not freaking out that he's a week 8 buy. I think he still was a good pick there, even though we could have gone with Butte or Tolbert for the bring back, and they would have like given me different bye week exposures. But I don't know. You have any
Well,
thoughts on that?
well, yeah, I think I do agree you don't want to like overstack the bye weeks, but I think having your wide receiver three, like 2, 3, 4, all off that bye week, and then having like a relatively strong running back room, it shouldn't totally like kill you on a given week. It's not like you have your top like two receivers or top three receivers off. It's like your wide receiver one, five, and then your very last guy. So you just need those three middle receivers kind of hit. And then it's like with your running back room being strong enough, I think you can be pretty hopeful that a running back will be hitting your flex. And
Yeah.
that doesn't seem too far fetched. So it's maybe like just a tiny bit more than would be like optimal ideal, but I don't think it leaves you nearly thin enough that week to worry about that like just killing your team. I mean, maybe if you get an injury to one of those other guys, like obviously, but I think if your guys are healthy, it should be pretty safe even through that bye. You should, maybe it's a little bit lower week, but I don't think it's going to significantly lower your floor like a insane amount.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting enough, I just caught this because I kind of tuned out of the draft once I made my round 18 pick, which was, one of the earlier ones. Um, we had Jordan James go. You don't always see him get drafted anymore since the big board. You
Oh
see
yeah.
Kyle Monin guy get drafted. You don't see that a whole lot, but there's starting to be a little bit of interest in either Monin guy or I get him confused too. Like I see rookie with the last name M, and I either think Monin guy or I think Mullings. I actually saw some coach speak about, maybe we mentioned this last night, but I saw some coach speak about Mullings where they're thinking like, hey, maybe he can have a role for Tennessee. Although Pollard is like, he's definitely the guy. I think he's a good value where he's going right now, anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty big on Pollard. I think it would be pretty tough for Mullings to capture a role just with like Spears didn't even really look bad in relief of Pollard last year.
Sure.
So, and Pollard, I think actually looked like surprisingly really good.
Yeah.
So it
He
just
had
seems
games where
hard
he had
for a
like
rookie that
28
late.
rushing attempts plus some receptions. I was going through it pretty recently and I was like, dang, I forgot how much work they're giving Pollard.
Mhm. Oh, that's an interesting point Steve made. This staff didn't draft Spears. So maybe if they're not as in on Spears. But he did look pretty good near the end of the year last year. Monagai equals Kamani Vidal. Hmm,
Yeah, those are good points. What up,
yeah.
Kriop? How you doing tonight? Hope you're having a good Saturday, man. Pollard totally safe. Yeah, I think Pollard is definitely safe. I guess that is. Let me check my Spears exposure. That makes me a little bit more worried about my Spears exposure. It's 16 right now, so I just have time to work that out. But I probably need to get off that click and maybe take more Ramondre or someone else in that range.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
think this is a fun squad.
if I'm being honest too, like Kalel Mullings is not a guy I know a ton about. Like, I mean, I've done a little research on him. I'm aware like who he is, but he just wasn't really a guy I was clicking much in the big board or anything. So I don't know a ton about him in general, like play style wise, stuff like that. Um,
With Mullings.
yeah, with Mullings, he just wasn't a guy that was like on my radar a ton, like pre-draft and stuff like that.
Yeah. Hmm.
Mm.
Let's so I just jumped into a 30-second elim and there's 7 more spots open. I'm gonna give it a couple minutes to see if maybe we can fill this thing. Um, I don't know. 7 is kind of a lot a way to go, but if some of y'all in the chat want to jump into this 30-second eliminator, maybe we can get it going. I want to look up. Let's look into Khalil Mullings a little bit more. He notoriously a converted linebacker, took over some of the rushing work at Michigan, more of a plotter. You can kind of tell he's a big back. He took a lot of the work away from Donovan Edwards, who was the guy like 2 years ago, but then kind of faded out. Tons of touches. I mean, he's a huge college dominator, 82%. I don't think he's very involved in the passing game, but no one in Michigan is involved in the passing game unless you're Roman Wilson. And then no injury history. he came on late because he was a linebacker converted, and it was really this one kind of 1-year wonder where they were just giving him touches, and maybe it's the offensive line that carried all of his production. He's kind of a late age breakout, so I'm not really excited about him, but he is a bigger back. If we look at Spears, that's a good point though that Steve has, is that it's a different coaching staff that drafted Spears. Spears is more of I guess he's not technically fast, but he's more of like a speed back, or that I would think of like a change of pace guy, just based on his
Mhm.
like size, and then he's really bursty, I guess.
And he's
Um,
kinda like a receiving back, right?
definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
The receiving back, you could say that for sure. Although, he had more production his rookie year than his sophomore year is what I'm looking at right here. Um,
Mhm.
Obviously, like you said, a good receiver. Wasn't there an injury that he had, or am I just thinking back to his college days?
Well, he
I
has
guess
that,
a
he has,
bunch of
like, the
injuries.
ACL always missing, where,
That's
like, the
true.
cartilage is rubbing on itself. So he played 12 games last year. I just checked on that.
So we're nice. Yeah, and I'm looking at it too. He missed a ton of games last season. That's why maybe his production was so much lower than his rookie year. On the report,
Mhm.
twice for the ankle. That's a terrible way to start the season if you're a running back. Ankle injury. The hamstring, that's literally the worst soft tissue injury I can think of for any explosive player. You know, see Nico Collins. And then he missed 3 games with that. I did a ton of research on Nico Collins and or I did a ton of research on hamstring injuries um, last season because I was so invested in Nico Collins that the minute he missed 1 game with the hamstring, I had to look into it. Like, so notoriously, I had 59 Nico Collins teams in Best Ball Mania, and the minute he had the hamstring problem, I freaked out. I was like, "Oh God, like, is this going to screw my season?" And it did. But um, I reached out to one of my buddies and so one of my buddies in my home league that we redraft every year. We've been doing it since high school. We're like year 17 or whatever. He's actually an orthopedic surgeon now, and he's super still into fantasy, but like he's very busy. But he loves the Texans too. He's had season tickets to the Texans since like year one. Like his family is just like in, and like they love the Texans. So I texted him like the day that Nico Collins had the hamstring injury. Long story short, he threw me some article, like a scientific research paper, medical journal thing, and it said if and it was all about NFL soft tissue injuries, specifically hamstring strains, and what grade it was. And the thing was, if you're gonna miss 1 game, you were more likely to miss two. The average games missed was 2.7. If you missed more than 3 games, the average games missed was like between like 5 and 8. So like your windows are, if you actually miss a game with a hamstring strain, if you end up missing 3 games versus just like 1 or 2, if once you it was pretty much like there's like a big difference between like only missing like 1 or 2 games and then missing like 5 plus. So it's interesting that Spears is kind of right in between that at 3.
Mhm.
But that's when I started to realize when I saw this paper, and it was like a paper that was like a research study that was done that looked at a bunch of NFL players from like the last like 10 years. And I think it was published in like 2018 or 17 or something. So it was recent enough. But my conclusion on that was like, yeah, I'm screwed. Nico Collins, as soon as I saw him miss like the 3rd game, the 4th game, I was like, he could miss like who knows how many more games he could miss. So all that to say is like, yeah, anytime you see a hamstring, I always think back to like not just this last year, but there's been guys with hamstrings injuries forever. The concussions you really can't explain, so that's kind of just like a fluke, I think. But
Yeah, and I think just with the hamstrings too, like, it just showed, like, I think you really see guys really have a hard time coming back from that. They're just not quite as explosive,
look at
and you
this is
really see their
Julio.
production take a hit.
This is Julio with the hamstring in 2021. I specifically remember this one because it was kind of his career starting to like, tail off. He missed
Mhm.
6 games, which is exactly like what Nico had done. And I think Nico is really similar to Julio Jones in a lot of ways.
Mm.
That
Well,
would have been
the best
4
one,
years ago. So he would have
the
been pretty
best
old
one's
already.
T. Higgins. The best one's T. Higgins. He misses games every year with hamstring injuries.
Yeah, there's just guys
Yeah,
who are notorious for that, right?
yeah. Yeah, I think it's almost every year he's missed games with some kind of injury.
Look, you're right. Both years, 23 and 24. So I would say if you only miss 2 games, that's like that. I don't know if it's called grade 1 versus grade 2 or like what the order is for the hamstring strains, but that's kind of like the best case scenario. If you miss 1 game and then you only miss 2, that's like the low grouping from the research. And then this one, although he only missed 4 games, um, I guess that's a little bit lucky where like it could have been much worse. He could have ended up missing like 5 or 6, but then it still says he's on 5 injury reports. So at some point, um, he probably was playing through it.
Right, right. Well, and then you wonder too, like how does their production look when they come back?
Yeah, 100
I think
100%.
that's a
And
big question too.
I totally agree. I think I guess it doesn't really matter what my exposure is on this one because I don't specifically have my eliminator exposures up. But we got in here. We got Drew in here. Drew, what's up? Are you in the chat? How you doing tonight? He's always just drafting late at night. If you know Drew from the Pounders Discord and he goes
Oh
on
yeah,
streams
yeah.
with Pat.
Well,
I've been I've
Me and Nick both posted it in the currently drafting.
Oh, you guys did? Hell
I
yeah.
think
Oh, he was in
I think
here.
some of the pounders,
Hell
yeah.
yeah. Appreciate you, bud. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're having a good Memorial Day weekend. I don't know. You must have seen it. So you know what? Y'all are hilarious. I always forget to post and currently drafting, but that's like where I'm usually at. But I always forget to do it when I'm streaming. I only ever do it when I'm like sitting in bed on my phone most of the
Yeah.
time. But yeah, shout out to the Pounders coming in strong. We got Mr. Chaz Michaels in the 1 spot. We got Sir Nick Bach in the 3. Vic Venk. That seems familiar, but I don't know who that is. Big effing smoke, because that's a pretty funny name. Don't know that. We got Steve, of course, in the 8, us in the 9. We got Drew in the 12. Paper God. I recognize that name too.
Yeah. I feel like I recognize the guy at 10 too, but I can't remember who that is. He's some
HDJDHD. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So this is an eliminator ass draft. Oh, McCaffrey, a good pick. I would probably lean a Monra again, but Genty obviously, doesn't hurt. We got to have someone hit week 1 to get us to
Yeah.
advance.
I
Do you
think
think Genty is?
Amon-Ra's the
You
okay,
think it's
yeah,
Monra?
Genty. I think
What do you
we can
think?
go Genty. We can go Genty, yeah.
Maybe we go Genty. I could just think of like I don't even know who the week 1 matchups are for the Lions, but I could easily see a game where they just don't need a Monra immediately. Who knows?
Mhm.
Maybe I'm somewhat biased. Maybe I'm thinking back to like their schedule last year. Probably I should pull the schedule up and like have an idea of who they've been playing week 1. But I know for a fact week 1, Genty's getting the rock. He's gonna run it a ton. Like they're gonna use him immediately, right? So it just makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, and I think too, like with it being eliminator and people pulling up running backs, maybe we will get a receiver we like on the way back.
I hope so. I think
Um,
I wanted Nico to come back around, but of
yeah, I
course,
was kind of hoping one of those guys would fall back to us, um, but even if not, we'll still have like London lad. We could go JT.
yeah.
Yeah,
Would
we'll
you
kind of
go?
see what's there.
Do you think you would take JT over Achan?
Um, no, probably with us having a solid build already, we could take Achan. I just kind of assumed he would be gone, but I mean, if
I'm
well,
definitely
let's
still way
see.
in on Brian Thomas. Like I don't think there's any reason I would fade him. Uh, he goes. I'm cool with
Okay,
Achan
yeah,
here.
yeah, I like Achan here.
Double RB start.
Are we good on the buy? Oh yeah, week 12, we're good.
Week 12 versus the Raiders are week 8, right? So, oh wait,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna bring up tonight. I got to start studying for Jeopardy next Wednesday on the Fanspeak
Oh
Network.
yeah.
So I need you to between our picks, I need you to quiz me on just name either a player or a team, and I want to have to give you their buy because that's I've been going through it. Like I've been in these drafts, like I've been studying it on my own, but throw out a team, throw out or just a player name, and then I have to associate with the player with the team and the buy. Let's see what we can do. Give me a few.
All right. All right. Let's go Jamar Chase,
Bengals
Bengals,
week 12.
week 12. Okay.
But do you have it up? You got to know that.
I'm looking, yeah, I'm trying to pull up the bye weeks real quick because I gotta I gotta see if I actually know him or not. Uh, or I gotta see like make sure I'm giving you the right info. All right. All right. Here we go. I got it now. Um. All right. So yeah, Bengals are week 12.
Rico Dowdle, Panthers. God, I want to say 14.
Yep. Panthers are 14.
And then was the
Uh.
Bengals 12?
Yeah. Yeah. Bengals.
Okay, hell yeah.
Bengals
Let's
are
go.
12.
Yeah, chat, you throw some out too. We'll see what you got. Gotcha. Boys coming in clutch. We filled this elim. I'm pumped. I've been wanting to do an elim all week long. I
Oh
haven't been
wait.
able to fill one.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Bengals are week 10.
What?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. Oh god. Okay, I'm not gonna look at my sheet. I'm staying blinded. They're week 10. That makes sense though. That makes sense. Yeah, week 10. Uh okay. Okay. 12 and 10 are easy to confuse because isn't there it's week 13, there's no buys, but there are some in week
All right.
11.
I found a legit chart. Oh yeah, week 13 has no buys. 5 through 14 all have buys other than week 13.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Uh, all right. So okay, now that I got the chart, now I can actually test you. Uh how about the Jets?
The Jets, I think, are week 9.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yep, you got it. Uh did anyone should I
Uh,
keep going
Dynasty
or
football in Espanol. This is a 30-second eliminator. We managed to fill it. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the boys in the Discord. Pounders coming out strong. We just filled it up, and before this one we ripped a Best Ball Mania, but this is an elim, so we're getting a little bit different in this one. What do you got, Hartman?
all right, how about the Chargers?
Oh god, the Chargers are week. Well, I think they're the same as the Bengals. Didn't we just say the Bengals were week 10? So I guess I'm gonna go week 10.
No, the Chargers are actually week 12.
Damn it. Okay. I was gonna say 12 and I switched it to 10. By ADP, it's either Rice, McLaurin, Hall, or we can grab Jaden Daniels and get our elite
I
QB for
would
this.
I would lean Rice, but I'm open to Jaden also. I'm open to either of those.
I think I'm cool with going Rice there. I think it is important to either get an elite QB or just get 3 guys late and make sure you got depth at QB to cover the weeks. But
Yeah, I think with grabbing the running backs early, I tend to favor going 3 QB builds.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, in eliminator, it's just so hard to say what the optimal is. I just think that's kind of how I view it because you still do need that wide receiver firepower. You
100%.
need that upside. What if you face a, relatively strong team, especially as you go on in the tournament? I think you can't just like punt receiver too hard.
Okay, now I'm upset that I've already missed 2. I missed the Bengals and I missed the Chargers. I got to sharpen up. Nick Bach, I'm facing Bindles on Wednesday. So we've got the Ballsy show on Monday on Bindles channel, and then on Wednesday we're going to be on Fanspeak Network battling it out. And he's pretty sharp, so I'm up for the challenge. I need to keep training, hitting the bag, getting my reps in. So I've recruited Hartman to put me through the ringer.
Bindles is a sharp guy, but he's not in the streets too much, right? He can't draft where he is. Is that
He's
right?
he's in Canada. I think I'll get it wrong. I think Toronto, but no, Toronto. I'm pretty sure. Adams, Evans, Moore, Worthy, Hertz,
Um,
McMillan.
I would probably lean. I mean, I like Tet or Evans probably would be my lean. I mean, I like Adams unless you're worried about the week 8 thing. Adams is my favorite player. If
No,
you're
I'm
okay with
gonna
the
go
double
Adams
week
too.
8.
I think maybe we
Okay,
talked
yeah.
about this last night, but the Rams wheels up like Stafford,
Oh yeah.
Puka, Adams. It's gonna be all going on. The only thing about Stafford is he's like even in his best weeks, what does it take for him to actually be the QB1 on a week? I don't think he can ever get there.
Oh, yeah, it'd be really tough for him to be QB1. I mean, he'd have to have at least a 4 touchdown game, and even then, you're probably, like,
And when was the
needing
last
a
time he did
lower
that?
week overall.
I mean, this potentially
Oh, yeah.
Adams is an upgrade over Cup potentially, but Cup still had some pretty, pretty, uh, what do you call them? Like spike week games, and then
Mhm.
Puka's done that too. Maybe they're both kind of missing different parts of the schedule. But when's the last
I
time
think that was a
Stafford ever
big
had?
thing last year.
Was
Oh,
that?
sorry. Sorry, I think that was a big thing last year, what you were just saying, where Puka and Cup didn't really align very well. Because Puka missed the beginning and then Cup got hurt, like, I think right before Puka got back, right? And they were together a little bit later, but that was after Cup had come back from injury, and it seemed like he wasn't really the same after he came back from the injury the rest of the year. He had, like, one more big game, I think, but he didn't seem as good as very early in the season.
Um, I wonder because there's been a lot of debate about Stafford. I think
Mhm.
I think he can still rip it. I think he can be good enough, but maybe the top scoring QB on the week puts up 32 points, and maybe Stafford gives you like 24 points or something, like best case. Like I just don't know if he can get. You'd have to have another piece of your roster overcompensate, which makes sense though, because Stafford goes so cheaply, and then a guy who could put up like 30, 32 points up here is going so expensive, where the opportunity cost is a running back or a wide receiver that's going to end up giving you, that above replacement score that you would need to, with a Stafford, end up still beating some of these elite QB teams, right? Like Devontae Adams and Stafford versus Jalen Hurts and the wide receiver you get in round whatever 13 or whatever. It's like probably give me Adams and Stafford. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know about it. Depends, but
Yeah, well, I think generally Stafford's your QB3 on your team when you pick him.
true. That's yeah, for sure. If it's all you had, like imagine it's like all you had, then maybe Sutton at 56. What a nice pick. I would have liked that.
Yeah. Uh,
Pickens.
oh oh, yeah, I mean, I like Pickens. I'm okay with any of these 3.
I like
Uh,
all three of
and
these guys. I kind of just want to get some more Pickens.
okay, yeah. Yeah, and then we'll just have to be cognizant to, watch out for by week 10 at receiver after that, because 'cause that'll be Rice and Pickens, but I think that's fine having 2. We'll just have to watch it for, like, the rest of the way.
If this team makes it to bye week 10, we're
Oh, yeah.
doing great. We're
Yeah,
doing incredible.
yeah. But, you play like you're winning, right?
Yeah, it's true. We still need to win week 10 if we get there. But like it's going to be so interesting in this format with the head-to-heads. Somehow someone's going to have a team that gets through really far, like and wins in like let's say week 10 and then moves on to week 11. But in that exact same week 10, maybe both their quarterbacks get out for the season, and then they end up in week 11 in a head-to-head, and they're dead. They can't win. And then you're lucky. You're in week 11. You have a free roll, and you get to week 12. Like that's going to happen a ton because of like the singularity of the head-to-heads and the pods. Like there's going to be players who go out for the season at any given week, and then your opponent's going to instantly advance. So you just have to get lucky as well.
Well, I think there might be a lot of teams like that in week 8 since that has so many teams on bye. There could
Yeah,
be a lot where your opponent or even you, like, have a lot of people on bye, but you're actually still okay because your opponent also does. 'Cause, it's gonna be really hard to avoid that week entirely.
no doubt. I think I don't mind Juwan Jennings. Um,
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
I don't. I mean, Henderson's also very good, and Pollard's very good too.
Um, I think I would lean I guess Pollard is close. I would lean Pollard over Henderson, but if you wanted Juwan, I'm okay with that too.
I don't. We don't have to force Juwan. I think Pollard is going to have such high touches. Like his volume is potentially just so good, and I've always had this in the back of my mind that teams want to make the job of a rookie quarterback easier naturally. So they're going to lean on the run game. They're going to do play action. They're going to do all these kind of more like I, simplistic kind of things to get the quarterback into a comfortable the rookie QB into a comfortable spot where he's not having to like do too much. And so just lean on the run game, do the easy things. And that makes me think that guys like Pollard and then the short and intermediate pass guys for the Titans could also be valuable. But who would be like the short and intermediate pass catchers on the Titans? Because I'm trying to think, because Ridley
I get
does Ridley just
Restrepo would probably be or Lockett, I guess. Lockett would probably be the favorite.
probably Lockett then. Probably Lockett's like the little safety blanket, catches the ball and falls down every time kind of thing, doesn't take a hit. But I don't know how
Yeah.
valuable that is. I guess then eventually they're going to take shots and play action to like Ridley. I think of Ridley, I think of just like a guy who can spike week, but I'm trying to think back to like what he actually does. Like, is he also good at the short and intermediate stuff and then gets the
Well, I
yak? Or
think isn't Ridley? Didn't he lead the league in like air yards last year or something?
let's
Is
take a
that
quick
right?
look at that. He might have been close. I know Sutton was number 2 in air yards. Ridley I know he was up there. I'm thinking back to his data. Yeah, he was number 1. Ridley was number 1 in air yards. So I mean, he just is the downfield guy. Like, and that makes sense to like what I imagine, but I just wasn't sure. Maybe we can look at like, I know I'm scrolling
And
pretty fast on this, but
number 5 in A dot.
yeah.
So number 3 in deep targets. So yeah, I mean, I think of him a little bit more as like a downfield guy, but I do think he does kind of play
Which
all
maybe
over the
that's
field to some
we
level.
need to think more through like what is Cam Ward, because I didn't watch enough Miami football to like know, and especially because they didn't make the college football playoffs. Like, you didn't get to see them in prime time at the end of the season when all these other teams like Ohio State and Texas are playing, and everyone like relearns about like who their important players are. You have Cam Scattaboo, getting a spotlight in a game kind of thing. Cam Ward,
Mhm.
like, what is his strength? Like down the field, like deep passes, or is that somewhere where Levis was actually better?
Um,
Just a general question. I don't know the answer, but I think
so
I want to investigate that for sure, because I'm pretty in on Ridley, but it seems like it could be a huge risk if Cam Ward is not that type of down the field passer.
so I guess I don't know exactly what a good deep ball rate is per se, but so it says he was 42% completion percentage on passes 25 yards or more down the field in his
40,
final year at
42?
Miami. Yeah, 42% completion, which I think is
That sounds
probably a
really
little
good.
low.
Is
Oh,
it
is that
low?
really good?
No, I would have. I don't know. I was to check a baseline. I would have thought like, wait, what'd you say? Down the field more than 30 yards?
More than 25 yards. So it says, I guess it depends on
Okay,
the
essentially the
source. It
same
says
thing.
between 42 and 46%, but like Jackson Dart was 51%, Shadur was 55%. Um,
Oh, Shador's actually pretty accurate.
that's true.
He's one of the more accurate guys. And then Dart, I think, was known for the deep balls to Harris. Um,
Yeah.
I I guess in my head, I thought a good deep completion was like 33%, or like a baseline, not a good one, but like a baseline. I guess we could look up like what is Russell Wilson, or like who else is like a known deep passer. Like, oh geez, I don't know. I'm on the spot. I can't think of one right now. But this
All
build,
right.
geez,
Rick,
where do we go?
Ricky time. Oh, Mahomes. Okay. Yeah.
You think
Yeah.
it
We'd
take
grab
makes sense
Mahomes for the skinny.
to rip Mahomes before we let whoever had Xavier Worthy? I didn't even see where Worthy's far away. We could push Mahomes. Maybe we just grab him and just figure it out later.
I mean, we could push Mahomes and get like
Too late.
Ricky, but okay.
Well, I'm pretty out on Ricky, but I know that you
Yeah.
you can
I
convince
I
me
know
onto
I
it.
know what you were doing there. I knew what you were doing there.
Oh, sorry,
But
the time ran out.
yeah. No, I think we still have a couple decent options at receiver though on the next pick. I do think we kind of have to go receiver with the next pick though. We
Okay.
don't want to end up too thin. But yeah, I was thinking Mooney or Golden or like obviously Ricky if he's there. Any of those three, I think. And then if they're not, maybe we could look at like Hawkinson or RB. Um, but I don't know. Like, do you have any strong leans here?
I mean, look at my Golden and Mooney exposure. It's two of my most drafted players, and then Ricky was like 1%. So I typically link Golden and Mooney. Um, did you see that video of Golden playing the charity softball game? He's just getting interviewed, and he's just saying like how locked in he is to like be in Green Bay and like be around the fans and stuff. It's like there's nothing hard hitting there. There's nothing like really to take away other than the fact that like I think he shows like a level of maturity that is like a good signal. But I mean, I'm already like, I'm already golden pilled. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with Golden here.
let's just think through because his bye week is 5. It's a little
Week
early. It's
5.
nothing
That's
crazy.
we don't have any week 5 yet.
True. And
That's
then,
not bad.
I mean, I like Mooney a lot too. It's not like we need the week 17 though. And so there's really no other, like, there's no reason to like
Yeah,
pick one or the other.
I would say week 17 is
It
not
matters
relevant at all
0,
in this
right?
contest. Yeah.
Because
I mean,
there's
if you make it, it's a 3-person final.
exactly. If you
So,
make it, you're not going to have, I think you're more likely to have completely independent, honest, like unduped rosters in week 17 with the other two teams than more likely to have like under 3 or under I'll put it at 5. I would think, and this is just me spitballing, but like if you had more than 5 of the same players as either one of the other two teams, I'd be really surprised. Like maybe one of the first round picks, like you had to have like, but the head to heads are all the way until week 17. And so like you don't have to have anyone necessarily. Like you have
mhm.
to beat the guy you're playing. And so I don't know. I just, to me in this format, it's like I'm really interested to see all 3 teams that make week 17 and like what they end up being. My hunch tells me they're not going to be similar. Like they're going to be completely random teams.
Yeah, I think maybe the first couple weeks you'll see a lot of similarities, but
Yeah.
then I think as you get a couple more weeks in, you'll get like a lot more of that variety. Unless like a later owned guy is just super smashing. Picky doesn't exist for Chris. Yeah.
That's exactly the
Yeah.
point. I think the most similarity will be the teams that advance out of week 1 to week 2 because it's whatever games have the highest point totals and whichever players hit the touchdowns in week 1, all of those teams
Mhm.
are going to be the 6 that advance out of their pod. And then the only variation is going to be the teams that get in at like the 5 and the 6 spot. All of the 1, 2, 3, 4s are going to be like the same similar teams. Like, oh, you had to have Christian McCaffrey in week 1 because, or like you could have had him because he put up 30 points. Like, yeah, you're going to advance. But like, oh, if you picked Neighbors in as your first pick, he put up maybe like just spitballing, but like he puts up 5 points. Like those teams are never going to advance. Like you get those teams don't make it through. And so like maybe there's like a rare Neighbors team that gets through, but then every head to head that goes on, it's just gonna the variation is gonna like exaggerate more and more and more as you go along.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I think the only thing that could maybe be higher owned like a little bit later in the season would be if there is like a Puka type player, like a
That runs
super late
hot.
round guy that like you had to have type guy. But
Yeah.
other than that, even like, if they're like even Saquon from last year, I don't think he would be like insanely higher owned than the next guy or like insanely higher more likely to see in the final than the next guy.
Oh, this is good intel from Drew. He says Ward's a gunslinger, never met a throw he didn't like, couldn't make. Okay, I like that.
Never mind a throw he didn't think he could make.
So you were saying he was like 40% completion on the deep ones?
Yeah, but I think Steve mentioned it too. That said 25 yards plus, which in the NFL it's usually 20 plus. And
Okay.
then Steve also said he's a good deep ball passer, which I think Steve's kind of a better college ball knower than me at least. I'm not much of a college ball guy.
Okay. I'm just I'm a college ball guy as long as it's relevant to who the Longhorns are playing, and then I still watch
Yeah.
like the main games and like I follow like you know generally what's going on. Do you think we take Kelsey for the stack, or do you think it's not relevant in this format?
Well, I mean, I think stacks can still be helpful if the
Yeah,
Chiefs spike. I just wonder, are we worried with Rice and Kelsey? Is that too much? Or do we think that's like just enough where we're like pretty good with that?
where else would you want to go real quick? Dak,
I mean, oh, we could grab Dak, yeah.
maybe he'll still be there. I don't know. I let it hit on Kelsey because we needed a tight end anyways, and then the bye week's 10. It's pretty late, and I'm just thinking
Mhm.
like, what if this is the Chiefs? That are just they start the season strong and you just kind of want they're just scoring, averaging 30 points a game. I think they're honestly, I think they averaged a pretty low amount I have to look it back and see what it was. I think they averaged a lower amount of points per game like the last season or last 2 seasons, but I don't know. I think we made the bet right on Mahomes, and so if he's a quarterback you want to get out of week 1 and maybe hit kind of early on, maybe Kelsey's a part of that. Maybe Kelsey's just touchdown dependent and kind of the volume's still there to some extent. But well, I don't know. The touchdowns haven't really been there lately either, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was still he was still like a lower end top 5 tight end last year, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
I don't think he's fallen off. Like I think tight ends they really last a lot longer than other positions,
I
other than
agree.
quarterback. Yeah, I think probably Dak here, right?
Well, so now
Unless you
we're
wanted like
going hard on the week 10 bye right now because we have so much on it. But
oh, Dak's week 10. Oh, I didn't even okay, yeah, I didn't realize that.
I don't hate it though because that's so far along. It almost doesn't matter. Like if we even get there,
Yeah, I would either go him or like Burden or Shaheed.
should we
Either
go
either one of
Burden?
those receivers. Either of those receivers or Dak, I'm fine with any.
I'm
Probably one
gonna
of the
grab.
receivers though, yeah.
I'm gonna grab Burden for like you know he he could just be good. I don't know. I
Mhm.
obviously you want like the early season guys who are gonna like start off strong and have a role, and he's gonna have to slightly like prove it, right? But I think he's still also good. And
Yeah, well, I think with as late as he goes in this format, just the upside you're getting, possibly even like a couple weeks into the season, is worth it. Getting him at in the 110s, I think that's like, that's a really good value given his talent level. And
okay.
on offense that we expect to hopefully improve quite a bit. Like I actually like Burden a lot in this format, even though I do get like maybe you'd want to push him a little bit. Like he's not really the archetype of player maybe you'd target in this format. I think as a wide receiver 5, he feels pretty good though.
Yeah, he's R5, right? And so then now let's just take an inventory of our bye weeks just to stay fresh and who we have. It's a 1-3-5-1 build. It's a 30-second eliminator draft. We've got
Mhm.
Mahomes with Rice and Kelsey. I don't think we take any more Kansas City pieces unless it's like the last round or something, just to give us more depth throughout, other cover other bases. I think the running backs, we have Pollard on a week 10 bye. So now we have 2 players so far on a week 10 bye, 3, 4, and then 5. So we're gonna have, if we don't take any more players on the week 10 bye, we already have 5 out of 18 out that week, which isn't like the end of the world. It's pretty far along. We'd be lucky to even make it that far. Like really lucky. This is like if I max the eliminator, the odds are we wouldn't even make it to week 10 with like 0 teams. So to this one get through there, maybe having a week 10 bye like doesn't actually matter because if it gets there, we're going to be facing other teams who might also have been, you know, staying more away from the earlier bye weeks. And then we also have Golden and Burden who both have the week 5 bye, so we probably try to avoid that a little bit if we can. Dak could have been
Yeah.
good there. Probably would have been a good pick. I don't think we had to force it though. Pickens being our third receiver though was it kind of was a good range. Let's just see.
Mhm.
Love
I
is
think we
there.
grab Love if he's there, yeah. And I think it does kind of work out good with having Golden and Burden with the early buys, since there may be like the younger guys who won't produce as much early, like getting their buy out of the way. So maybe they're really hitting, let's say it does make it to week 10, they're really hitting when we get to that bye week, like they're in full stride of their rookie year. So maybe their archetypes kind of work out pretty well together.
Hmm. Yeah, if this team makes it past week 5, I like having Golden and Burden as like options. That can be like you said, guys that this isn't super late, but guys that are kind of mid round picks that maybe go on a hot streak. Maybe Golden has like 3 weeks in a row where he scores touchdowns and has 60 plus yards. That would be like, very good for continuing to advance in the head to heads. I think we go Love here and we don't worry about anything else. Make sure we get
Oh yeah, definitely.
our second
Yeah, definitely
QB.
Love. And then we could grab like so we could grab Kraft and be done and just have like, on week 5 we kind of take a hit, week 10 we kind of take a hit.
Yeah.
All the other weeks were pretty good. But I don't know, I guess, what you think of that play. That would give us 4 guys on bye week 5, but they are a little bit later capital. None of them are earliest picks at the position.
And I think we can still dig our way out because we don't have a single running back on week 5 bye yet. And I feel like these running backs can carry. So like in week 5, if Genty, Achan, and Pollard all hit the lineup and they are like
Mhm.
RB1s in the week, like top 12 running backs in the week in fantasy scoring, that'll carry us through.
And their top 3 receivers will be good too.
Right.
So we'll need to get a little bit of a receiver help, like, a little bit later. Um,
Damn.
we'll just make
Oh
sure.
well.
Oh, okay. Alright.
Um, do we want to keep pushing tight end then and get more late guys since like that was probably just the best correlated pick, but otherwise we just get value in here on some other players that could have good roles.
Yeah, I think so. I like that play better, especially since, like, Ferguson's probably the best tight end. He's kinda off our board, having the week 10 bye also.
Yeah.
Um,
Are there
I'm
any
kinda
QBs?
open to, uh,
No, I
I
don't think so.
mean, unless you really like any of them, I'd be open to White, Besh, or Williams, any of the 3.
I guess I'm leaning White just because it's a good offense that can score a lot of points, especially in the passing game, and he's their pass catching running back. And
And
I'm
he's
only
off the buys with, our other guys too.
it does help in that way. I'm somewhat concerned that they're just going to phase him out even more. I don't know that Bucky can take the entirety of the workload. Like it's not going to be like 90-10. Maybe it's
Mhm.
more of like at worst case, maybe it's like 65, 25, and then you mix in um some other like I don't think Tucker gets that much either though. So maybe would 65 that'd be like yeah, that'd be like 90%. Okay, so I think at the high end you have Bucky getting like 65 to 70% of the touches and then Rashad
Mhm.
White gets like 20 to 25%. That would be like the worst case scenario for Rashad White in my mind.
Yeah, I
'Cause
agree with that.
I don't think
I
they
think
phase him out completely.
Yeah, I think he'll still have that valuable pass catching role. Those are a little bit more valuable touches anyway than, like, early down rushing attempts.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think Rashad White can still be a good I think he's still a good click just in general. And, like you said too, with them being such a good offense, like, I think on a high scoring offense, he does have the chance to get in the end zone, like, a couple times throughout the year and, maybe hit your lineup, give you that little spike that you need. So Oh, we sniped Steve on that one.
Let me just say I was scrolling through. I was trying to catch up. What up, Fantasy Dog? How you doing tonight, man? Uh, one Rashad White. It makes me feel good if Steve wanted
Yeah.
him. I get because okay, so I had this preconception or I had this idea in my head that going into last season where someone said Mixon, like, what is his share of backfield for the Bengals been like historically? And I was like, oh, Mixon, he gets all the touches. Mixon's like a 80% touch guy. And then I look it up and he was never above 66%. So like even
Mhm.
if you're like a Mixon where like you're the workhorse, you dominate the touches, there's still like a limit. Like I think the high end limit is like somewhere around 70%, maybe a little bit higher than that. I have to check what like Derrick Henry or like Saquon was. Um, of like
But
snaps or of touches, like whatever metric you'd want to use. But I think all that to say is like Rashad White still could fit in for like part of a role. And like you said, he's a better pass catcher. And then his contingent upside is like pretty high.
well, I think Bucky, comparing Bucky to, like, Saquon or Henry, he doesn't have the size like those guys do. Like,
Exactly.
I don't know if he
Yeah.
can be a 90% touch guy unless they really need him to be near the end of the year. Uh, yeah, I like that idea.
I think Thielen's a great pick here because he's just a good, per game scoring receiver. And then he has the late buy, gets us off of all of our other
Mhm.
buys at wide receiver. And then there's a chance Bryce Young comes back around. We can kind of connect that dot.
Yeah, that feels good. And then if he doesn't, then we can also look at Stafford because we have, the Devontae.
Oh, I didn't even remember that until you said it. So I'm glad we've got that connection too. That's also a fun one.
Mhm.
I would slightly lean Bryce Young, obviously, I think because they're setting him up for success by taking T-Mac, and then the offensive line is so good, and then they're kind of on the upswing, and he does have like a sneaky rushing upside. I mean, I think he got lucky with the 6 touchdowns, but that amount of rushing yards is not insignificant for the amount of games he played. Damn, he goes.
Yeah. I kind of figured I think on the turn, one of those guys had T-Mac. So I was kinda
Oh
thinking Bryce
yeah,
Young
Drew
might
had
go there.
T-Mac. I probably could have looked at that, but I'm good with Thielen without him too. Like I think Thielen's still just a decent pick. Is
Yeah,
I think we do go Stafford and we're done it at oh son of a bitch.
okay. Um, I mean, do we w I guess what are you thinking here? Do you think tight end? Do you like any of these quarterbacks? AR for the spike weeks?
I
Um,
don't I it's still so early to figure out how much of a job he's gonna hold down. I don't know where we go if we go with Darnold. Like I don't know what other pieces we would connect
yeah,
to, like what Seattle
we'd
pieces are
probably
left,
have to
right?
grab, like, Arroyo, Horton, MVS
Or we
as
just
the
say
tight
this
end.
is an eliminator and you don't need this connection. You just need the floor or like a high
And he's
increase
kind
in
of
your
an
floor.
early season play. He kinda yeah, I mean, I like Darnold here probably over A
Because
Rich.
Darnold's not gonna lose his job at least.
Right, well, not early in the season at least,
Alright, do we
no.
push it? Do we take like a Freiermuth instead? That's a week 5 bye, but what do you think?
Uh, I mean,
Let's go
I'd probably
Darnold.
lean Darnold, yeah.
Let's go
Yeah, I'd
Darnold. I
probably lean
think,
Darnold.
it's I mean, you wanna have a high floor and a high ceiling. We don't
Mhm.
necessarily have to stack up Darnold. He can just provide us a weekly starter so that we're increasing the floor scoring of our QB position, especially in this week 5 if we get there. And then just one more. Like, I think we wanted to get 3 QBs anyways. If we look at Anthony Richardson, it's like, how quickly does he lose his job? Or does he lose it before camp? Or before camp gets out or whatever,
Right.
before the season starts. With Shuck, does he lose it out to Rattler? With Dart, what week does he start? Is it after week 14? Is it after week 9 or 8 or who knows? Rogers is probably kind of a sneaky good pick in this format,
Mhm. Well, and
but
I like Dart in, like, other formats, but I think in this,
oh
he's
yeah,
a
Dart's
guy who's
bad in
most
this.
likely not starting week 1, he's gonna start later. Where, like, A-Rich, you really don't know, he could start week 1 or he might not even be starting week 1. And I think Darnold has some bench risk, but his bench risk will come later in the season, it's not gonna be early in the season.
No doubt. Yeah, it'd be late in the season, so it wouldn't even matter because the odds are we won't be there. And if we are there, we've already got Love and Mahomes off of their buys, and we want Mahomes and Love to carry anyways.
Right. I I think there might be a few decent tight end options still too.
Oh yeah, there's always good, decent late tight ends. And like we've been saying, have you ever drafted a bad tight end room? It takes a
Yeah, no,
lot to
that's
draft
true,
a
it's
bad tight
tough
end
this
room.
year. Yeah. Yeah, this year it seems like there's a lot of options late that you can grab.
Mm. Okay, yeah, it's an interesting data point too. Steve was talking back to that point, that random stat that I threw out where I was like, I think Mixon's like a 66% guy. He's saying Najee was like a 65% guy. We do think of Najee as being like the dominant lead in that backfield, and then Warren still had a role. But when you look back, like fantasy points wise, and like a not just like a one random game sample where maybe Warren, scored his few touchdowns, but like Warren really did nothing like in total. Najee was doing everything. It's so
Yeah.
weird how we think as a fantasy basketball community in general, we think so highly of Warren, but he really hasn't done anything to justify it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a perennial, Warren fader. So,
Oh, Fader,
I
nice
do
because
get
I'm starting to fade him too.
oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, it just always seemed like his role was a little bit too small, and I think maybe some years I kinda got bailed out just with him getting injured or whatever, but it just seemed like the coaching staff always favored Najee, and he was one of those guys that I think people kinda they faded him because it's like, well, Najee's not that good, but it's like, well, if Mike Tomlin loves him, it doesn't really matter if he's that good or not. Like, if he's
It's
getting
opportunity based. Yeah.
right. So, yeah, like you said before, yeah, running back, it's just all opportunity. I'd probably
Oh,
lean Ertz here, right?
I think so.
Or unless you see someone else you really like.
We're pretty good, even though we still have the 4 running backs, we're pretty good there. I think the running backs kind of evened out. I think we do take a tight end, and I'd like to go Ertz. The Commanders have that,
Yeah, week
uh,
12 bye, so we should be pretty good.
week 12. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Week 12, and so they're really late buys. Kelsey Ertz, old man tight end room, could definitely work. Good offenses, you'd hope. The Kansas City Chiefs are a better offense, at least, than what they've been recently. Probably we need to make up some room, some ground at wide receiver. Not that our wide receivers are bad, but we have the 2 early buys, and then we probably just want to keep getting firepower to increase our ceiling. And as soon as we can get guys that can do that, I really wanted Alec Pierce, but he went. He would have been an ideal pick in my mind.
Mm. Yeah, I think we go 2 more receivers and then probably another running back to end it out.
And you think we're good with the 2
Um,
tight ends? I think we probably could be.
I think I think so with those 2. I
Although
mean,
it might be nice to have a third just to increase our floor even more because tight end is such a scattered position for scoring, and it's like you really just need the touchdowns. I don't know. We can come back to that later. There's gonna be guys potentially there. We gotta. I don't think we put. I think we can push running back. I don't think we have to take one here unless there's someone you think of highly. But who are these?
I agree. I think our running backs are pretty solid.
But then who do
Um,
we take for wide receiver? Like, do we take a Lockett and to get a little bit safer, or like
I
Yoshivas?
I think maybe I think either Lockett or like a Pat Bryant. I think we either swing for the upside or we take kind of the safe floor guy.
I grabbed Bryant. All he had to say was his name, and I'm clicking him because I'm pretty in. I think he's
And he
gonna have
gives
to,
us a week 12 bye also. So,
which is fine, right? It's not bad.
oh no, I'm
It's
saying yeah, that's a good thing because we don't
it's a
have
good
too
thing
much
for
on
the
week
wide
12.
receiver room.
Yeah.
The only concern is like how quickly can he get the snaps? I think. Okay, let's think about the Broncos offense. It's gonna be good. They're gonna run the ball a bit more. Ingram's gonna be the starting tight end. Sutton out wide. Then the other outside receiver is going to be Mims, but he doesn't play all of the snaps. And it was him and Franklin coming in a little bit. Who was the other outside receiver that was getting snaps last
Devon,
year?
Devon Vele.
I think he was playing in the slot, right?
Oh right, he's slot. He's like a tight end basically.
And then even
Um,
he didn't even play all the snaps.
Reynolds. Was it Reynolds?
Reynolds was there. Reynolds was the other guy, and he's gone, right? He's on the Jets.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, I think he's gone. Yeah.
He's gone. So
Well, and,
then
and I mean Mims like plays such a little snap percentage.
yes,
Like Pat Bryant should be able to see the field at least partially, like even week 1. And if he
he'll
does
see.
look
Yep.
talented through camp, he might get a big snap share immediately. I mean, they don't like playing Mims as a full-time player as is. So I don't, I don't know.
100% agree. I, I I think we're on the same page where it's like I think Pat Bryant gets snaps week 1. Maybe he plays 30% of snaps, but then by week 5 he could be playing 50 or 50 plus percent of the snaps. And maybe he's just good and they're like playing him 70 plus percent of the snaps pretty quick.
And I think with our top 3 guys, especially Devontae and Rice, they should be like very consistent, like high target volume players who,
Yep.
they should be consistently hitting your lineup every week. They're not going to give you like a 0 week hardly ever. Where maybe Pickens, that's a little bit of a risk, but I think kind of Thielen too. Thielen kind of saves us in that early season where he should still be pretty productive. Like, he's a real good value for that early season production in this format.
Could we go hyper fragile at the running back spot and stick with these 4 and just say that's all we need to win any given week? It's going to be Achan and Genty. Pollard covers us for the bye weeks and gives us a flex option. Rashad White's kind of a contingent upside. Maybe he worst case scenario, Bucky tears an ACL week 2, Rachaad White wheels up, we're covered. Like, is there any value to getting one more depth piece at running back, or do we need to build out the floor of our tight end and then get one more receiver? Like, I'm starting to think about that as well.
So I think could you tab over to tight end real quick?
Yep.
So do we really feel like we want anyone other than Juwan? Like, do you feel like any of those other guys would be worth picking really in this like format where we're trying to get more floor?
I think Jawan helps because he's going to get the snaps. Like, he's going to be the starting tight end, and he's gonna play. Higbee, there's a risk that he loses his job, but I think he's kind of safe too. Would
But we
should we
should
grab?
be good early with Kelsey and Ertz, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, maybe Jawan just to give us like another bye week, and then just like you said, kind of more like floor, like some touchdown upside.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna come down to like, oh, we won this week because of we beat the team by 2 points and our tight like we had three tight ends and like oh the third one scored that extra 3 points. I don't think that's the situation. I think it's just like the consistency of like the inconsistency of touchdowns at the tight end position, and it's like you just don't want to have a week where both of the tight ends score like less than 5 points, and that really lowers your floor. I don't know. Maybe I'm
Right.
overthinking it a little bit, but this last pick, are we good with the wide receivers with the 7 we have, or do we take one more or running back? Because I'm starting to think this could work out with just the 4 running backs, but this is a different format. Like, maybe you want one more piece just for depth.
Um, I mean, I think we could either go Calvin Austin, Tutu.
Yep.
We could look at Coker, and then who
Oh,
do we
Coker's
like
there.
at running back? Like, who gives us
Wicks is there, but I
more?
guess that's a little bit overkill.
I mean, we could do Wicks. I'm open to any of those. And then, is there anyone at running back you're really liking?
The problem is there's no one there that I like. Is
Yeah, I mean, I think if we were going to, it'd probably be like Devin Neal, but or like Corum would be fine too. But I mean, those guys are really just contingent bets, so I don't know if they would really be worth like taking over like Tutu, Calvin Austin, Coker, Wicks. Um,
can Tutu win us a week? Which one of these guys could win us a week or win us? Is it a running back more important?
I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, yeah,
I'm
that's
just trying to
fine.
think. I'm like, how many times could Tutu or Calvin Austin or Coker or even Wicks run hot and like win us consecutive weeks versus for some reason Corum's getting more touches than anyone ever thought, and like that can win you weeks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I do think that's fair. I think maybe I'm a little bit jaded on Corum, just
Sure.
like from last year, getting getting hit so hard from. But
Yeah,
I
he didn't
I
do
think
much.
that I think it's fair to grab the fifth running back. I think a guy like Tutu or Calvin Austin, they can be kind of like deep play threats. So maybe they do hit your lineup one of those weeks you have like the bye weeks hitting.
Right.
But I can definitely see the validity. Like, we didn't really need them. We have a lot of upside in there. I think we have a pretty solid wide receiver room.
You
I think
made you
we're
made
pretty
a good
solid
point.
all around.
I think we did a solid team all around. We almost went hyper fragile because it was so solid. I think you made a really good point about, yeah, like a 2-2 Calvin. I don't know fully about Coker because I just didn't see enough from him. And I mean, he was good for the yardage. I don't know about the touchdown upside. I mean, I guess Calvin only has one season to show for it, and it looks pretty similar to what Coker did. And then 2-2 is like right in the same vein. These are all kind of similar players where they
Mm.
play limited snaps. Maybe Calvin plays more snaps this year. If Keenan Allen goes there, though, then that kind of puts an end to it to some extent, although they don't really play the same position, but just like
Well, and
target.
Calvin's a little scary if they don't get Rodgers, right? Because like, then he
I guess
won't probably
so.
have a reliable deep ball passer. Like, if he's a more
Yeah.
down the field threat, I would assume bad quarterback play would maybe hurt a player of his archetype more. I don't know if that's really that true or not, though. That was just kinda, like, my thought on it.
I guess my the reason I threw Quorum in there, and it could have been Neil as well, but the reason I threw Quorum in there is if for any given reason Corum is in line for a majority of the touches in the Rams backfield, he's like a potential league winner.
Mhm.
Versus I don't see a situation where week over week Atwell, Austin, or Coker can produce enough to win you like more than like 1 week. Like they could spike and win you 1 week. Maybe they hit like a little stretch and win a few weeks, but they're not going to really win you the week. They're just hitting your flex. Versus the Corum. I mean, here's the same thing too. Though is like we're going to need Corum to hit our flex instead of one of these wide receivers or like a Pollard because we're assuming HCAN and Genty hit every single week. So it's like, what would it take for Corum to replace Pollard's points? He'd have to get a
Kyron
ton
goes
of
down,
touches.
right?
Yeah,
Kyron just has to go down, and that gives
yeah,
Corum the pathway. And even then, maybe let's say split with Jarquez, but even if he's only getting like 15-ish touches a game, if he's their red zone back, like with Kyron gone, then I think that gives him plenty of upside to hit.
yeah.
Uh I just think he requires an injury to be able to hit your lineup. Most
That's
likely,
true.
right?
That's true. And maybe these guys have more opportunities to hit without an injury. Um, I don't know. The more I think about it, like I don't know what I like better. Taking a swing on a guy that could be like a running back league winner, but we might not have needed it because he still would have to replace the points of Pollard or Achan. And like, what are the odds he does that even with Kyron down? Like maybe then he's still not good enough to do it. Although I think the offense being a good offense makes me think potentially it's just the opportunity. And then I've seen him like convert a bunch of touchdowns at Michigan. So like I know he can like get a ball in across the goal line if he's given the chance. At least I think I know that. Kyron's pretty much dominant. And that's like Kyron's best ability is like getting it across the goal line. Um, with the wide receivers, maybe one more would have just helped us. But I feel like it's a pretty strong wide receiver room, even with the 3 rookies.
Yeah, I mean, I think given especially how we started double running back. I think we actually came out with a really strong receiver room. I guess in eliminator that makes a little bit of sense where like I actually think the way we did it where we grabbed the running backs early kind of works out better in eliminator because we pulled A chain up like if you compare it to other contests, that's A chain only a couple spots ahead of where he normally goes and
Mm-hmm.
Genty right about where he normally goes. But if you look in that like third, fourth, fifth round, people are taking running backs like so much higher value than they normally go
Yep.
that I think grabbing those early guys kind of gives you an advantage over them because like you look at our receiver room, it doesn't look as weak as you would think for us starting with a double running back build. Like, in a
That's true.
BBM, you're never getting Rice Devontae pretty much, right?
You're getting one of them,
And
but not
Pickens.
both.
Right, right. We're in eliminator since people are pulling up those running backs so much, especially after round 2 and, like, later in round 2, I think you can get away with it a little bit more when you do it early, and you're not really giving up as much of a premium as they are because they're pulling up, like, Chase Brown, like, Breece Hall, Kyron, they're pulling those guys up higher than they would normally go, where we pulled HN up maybe a little bit higher, but not much.
Totally. It's a good squad. It's fun. It's a fun format to think through. It's so different. Um, I want to catch up with what the chat was saying as we wrapped up that one, and then maybe we can fill one more eliminator. We're definitely going to do one more draft. Harmon, you're up for another one?
Oh, yeah, yeah, definitely.
Hell yeah. And I guess maybe let's go ahead. Let's just peek in there because sometimes they take a while to fill. Guys, I'm going to peek into another 30-second eliminator. And let's just see how close it is. So if you're hearing me talk about this, I've already entered it. The 30-second elim. Waiting on 9. If you guys are interested in jump in and it gets us to like waiting on like 4 or like maybe even 5, I think we could maybe wait it out. Otherwise, I'll try to give us all an early cue to back out. Well, I mean, obviously, if it fills, we're not going to back out. So if we can get this thing to like waiting on 4 or 5, I think I'd feel good enough that we can fill it in the next couple minutes and we can just kind of talk and chill and catch up and maybe even review some more teams from that last draft. So that's kind of my game plan right now. We're waiting on 7, but if it stalls out around like 6 or 7 for about 5 minutes, we'll probably have to do a different type of draft. Let's see what y'all are saying. Shador will start week 1, my guess. Fantasy Dog, there's no way in hell that's happening, but dream on. But I appreciate you being here, and I love you for being here, but there's no way in hell Shadir starts week 1. It's going to be Dylan Gabriel if it's a rookie, for sure.
Oh, I don't know if Dylan Gabriel's ever going to play an NFL game. I think it's just going to be Flacco.
Bro, who got more Heisman votes, Dylan Gabriel or Shadir Sanders?
I mean,
I don't actually know. I think it's Dylan Gabriel, but I don't actually know. I'm gonna ask.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask AI.
Yeah, I don't know. Steve probably knows.
Steve, this is your area to shine. Who got more?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. Like Dylan Gabriel, like even right when they picked him, he doesn't
Weird.
really seem like a guy who's going to do anything in the NFL. But
He was good in college though, but like people kind of counted him out when
he's just like a compiler, right? Like he's not.
I
I
don't
don't
think he's
know.
that good. I mean, he played at OU and then he went to Oregon. So Dylan Gabriel had more votes in 2024. Gabriel had 24 first place votes. In contrast, Shedeur Sanders only had 1 first place vote. So Gabriel ended 3rd in the voting, and Sanders finished 8th in the voting for the Heisman. So, like, the Heisman, it doesn't mean much after you leave college.
I mean, Ashton Genty's my Heisman, so I don't know. I don't know how much I
honestly,
believe in those voters.
I liked Genty too. It's like what Hunter did. It's like, how do you? It's like, I don't know, right? It's like he was kind
No,
of.
it is tough.
It's tough.
It is tough.
Genty in any other season would have had a good enough case to be considered for the top spot, but I don't think you could pass up on what Hunter did.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, it like, yeah, I guess it's just I don't know. It's tough to me because I guess he did play both positions at a very high level. It just seems like what Genty did, like just that running back, it just seems more like special. Where, like, I guess not more special because it's super rare to play both ways, but I just don't know if Hunter was really like deserving of it with being like the best corner, the best receiver in all of college. I think you can make the debate he was, but had justify his first round on RB pick.
That was back to the Najee
Oh,
conversation.
Najee.
Yeah.
Right.
What up, J Money? How you doing on this Saturday night? Hope your drafts are going well. We're still waiting on 6 in this eliminator. Once I catch up with the last 20 minutes of chat that we've been ignoring because we were big braining the last eliminator draft, if we don't get down to like waiting on 4 or 5 in the next few minutes, I think we'll probably try to do a different contest. But let's hold steady for a few more minutes. But appreciate you being here, my man. I think that's a pretty accurate statement about Tomlin. And then Steve was weighing on covering. Yeah, I know. It's crazy how far from the light we all strayed going into Warren. But apparently Hartman's been fading Warren for years, so he's just ahead of the curve. I was probably 2 in on Warren last season. I think I had twice as much Warren as Najee, so that tells you something.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got a little bit of Warren. Like I got a little bag near the end when he was falling so much from that injury. I was like, oh, maybe he'll only be out a couple weeks. It'll actually work out pretty good. And that was not the good plan. Don't pick the fallers.
Drew, you skipped Mike Evans, and we skipped Mike Evans too. So he ended up going like as a pretty good value in round 4. But yeah, I would never slander Bucky. I'm a huge Bucky fan.
That's like that guy that's like 5'8", about $160, something like that. This is little dude.
Shots fired.
No, Buggy's great. Buggy's great. The miss tackle rate, he's one of the best force miss tackle guys in the whole league.
Yeah. And then I was gonna say thick brown line. Appreciate you, my man. Hope your drafts are going well. And we're in a 30-second eliminator right now. EV happy hour. Yeah, it kind of is. I mean, everyone's maybe a few drinks in, so you can catch some nice EV on people coming out from their evenings. and maybe they're feeling like they want to get in a draft late, and we're going to scoop that up. Depends on what time zone as well. If they're on the East Coast, they're definitely up late. I'm Central, and it's late, but it's not crazy. And then our West Coasters like Hartman, it's pretty reasonable to be awake right now and be doing anything.
Oh yeah,
We're
it's only
waiting
like
on
10:30.
yeah, it's 10:30. That's like just getting started. Um,
Yeah.
it's we're waiting on 5 thick brown line. If you're doing any of these elims, you want to get in a 30-second elim, go on and get in. Let's do it. Jawan's a crazy good pick. I kind of think so. We've been talking about that. Jawan will get the targets. I agree. Who's throwing him the targets? We'll find out. It could be Rattler. I think Rattler didn't look too good in the limited opportunities he had last season, but Chuck has never been good. So I don't know. I was really surprised that Chuck even got drafted where he was. Like, I mean, it's all very confusing to me. And the hate goes too far on certain players in college and the narratives and the things. Okay, Chuck played he played at, if I'm not mistaken, he played at Oregon, back up to Herbert, and then he went to Texas Tech and he got run out of town. They hated him there. He has one good season that's not even that good at Louisville. And Louisville did nothing in college football last season. They won some games. I mean, I'm probably underselling them. And I'm going out on a limb, but they didn't do anything in the college football playoff. They weren't like nationally recognized. I think they had maybe some good wins, but nothing crazy. Okay, then you have Quinn Ewers. He's a 5-star, the number 1 quarterback recruit out of high school. He leaves high school a year early at true age 17, goes to Ohio State, decides to transfer to Texas. He starts there for 3 full seasons, has some injuries. He beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa with Nick Saban. No one's ever done that the way that he did it. Like, there's like less than 3 people who've ever done that as college quarterbacks ever. Like, it's just not been done. He went into Ann Arbor and they beat Michigan after Michigan won the national championship. They made it back-to-back years to the college football semifinals, and he was 1 pass away against Washington from making it to the game to play against Michigan. And then they were a couple of plays away from beating Ohio State, even though Ohio State was the better team. I would recognize that. And obviously, a lot of other good components to the Texas team. Quinn Ewers was the last Texas player drafted in the 7th round to the Dolphins, which is actually a pretty good landing spot for him. Very similar system to what Sarkisian does that McDaniel does. And Tua gets hurt all the time. So having a quality backup is good. But like, you see Quinn Ewers, who is like that one of the people think he's not good. People think he's inaccurate, but he's like one of the highest pedigree college quarterbacks in the last in this draft class. And he goes in the 7th round and is like a forgotten afternote. And then you have a guy like Tyler Shuck, who the fuck is Tyler Shuck? And he gets his 2nd round and goes to the Saints, and now he's going to be the presumed starter because he's looks like a quarterback or he's tall. I don't know. I just don't get it. Someone's got to explain it to me. I will stop there. That's enough. But like, I don't know. It blows my mind. And I think the hate's gone too far on Quinn Ewers. Like, he had some really good games. Maybe he's not going to be an NFL starter, but
Well, he'll probably get a chance to start this year once the starter goes down. So,
true.
you know, Miami, right? So
And then
he
even
might have a good chance this year.
Will Howard gets no respect, wins the Natty, had a career at Kansas State, goes to Ohio State. Like, he's good enough. He's good. Like, he's good enough. Yeah, he had a lot of good supporting cast, kind of in the same way that Quinn did. But like, he gets no respect. He ends up going to the Steelers. Maybe it's a good spot for him. I think he could kind of fight for a role. But then you have Dylan Gabriel. He's getting a lot of hate. I think he did good enough as well. So he was in the race for the Heisman. I think he was the top QB vote because it was. Didn't we just find out that he finished 3rd or 4th? So that it would have been.
Oh yeah, so it would have been Genty and Hunter over him. Would have been the only guys.
Yeah, if he was third. If he was fourth, we'll have to catch up with what Steve was thinking. We're waiting on 6. I'm gonna catch up with the chat, and if we don't get to like waiting on 4 or 3 in the next minute or two, we'll probably have to do another tournament. Yeah, it was fun. Thanks, Drew. Appreciate you joining in. We'll catch you in another draft soon, my man. If you're taking off. Huntley from waiting on 7. Okay, that's the signal, guys. We're waiting on 7. We're gonna ditch the eliminator. It was fun while it lasted, but we're gonna have to enter a different contest. Unfortunately, I don't even know. I don't think I'll peek into the 20-second elim. I doubt it's gonna be any different. Let's just peek in. It's waiting on 11. That was dead on arrival.
Yeah.
I just kind of knew it. What do
Yeah.
you think? I mean, we could do a marathon or sprint, but those are kind of in a similar situation where like they're pretty hard to fill. Maybe we just rip a puppy because that's like the easiest low hanging fruit.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to check like sprint, but
I'm down to
yeah,
check
probably
sprint.
just a puppy. But yeah, let's see if it's
Let's just check a
close.
sprint, and I'd be down for a 20-second sprint because I think I just want to see if like it's waiting on 8. I'm gonna back out. If it was really close, maybe we could push it with some of the chat. I'll check the.
See, Steve wants the puppy too.
Yeah,
I've seen.
let's. I'm not gonna do the spread. Let's do a puppy.
All right.
I've already done 45. I'm cool with doing like somewhere around 50. So we'll do a 20-second puppy. If you've already entered, I'm gonna do the 20-second one. I'm entering it now. Waiting on 3, so it's gonna fill very quickly. Waiting on 2. 20-second puppy. It already filled. Hope you guys got in. Tried not to fake you out too much, but I did just like dangle the sprint in front of you. Oh, Steve didn't get in.
All right, so we're actually in contention this time then.
I know. Actually, my plan came together. I tried to fake out Steve on a few sprints, slow him down. He went to refill the bourbon. We jump in, and then we get a plus EV draft room without one of the other sharps in here. Although I will say, I'm looking across the board. I see Ben Haskell. What up, Ben? How's your Saturday night going? Hope you're doing good, my man. Nick Bach, of course. Sir Nick Bach. And then Fantasy Dog, you Sly Dog. D. Lutomsky. I know that name. I think you're in here. I think you were just hitting me up on Twitter. If you're watching from Twitter. Oh, no, actually, I was thinking of someone else who has a very similar avatar. That was Deluxe 7. I feel like D. Lutomsky is familiar. Hartman, do you know who that is?
Yeah, it's Lumpsky. He's on BBG's. He's in BBG's chat all the time.
I know that's familiar. Yeah, it's definitely okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm mistaken deal there for a second there. But if you're in here drafting with us, what up? BBG might be live. I actually forgot to check back. I don't actually know. I think let me refresh.
I think he went live like right when you did.
Yeah, he's still live too. So we got some cross pollination going on.
Oh,
maybe he's doing puppies and like we just who knows? I have no idea where they are in their process. And we got Chris in here. That's another name I recognize. I think Chris is one of the maxers who's in the Best Ball Mania, the fantasy best ball, because I saw the username. I'm pretty sure he's in the Excel. I saw the username and I was like, oh, there's another Chris in here. I'm not the only Chris, but I go like, what's that?
I said easy pick.
Yeah, CD Lamb at pick 7 to me is like, can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Who was saying they were out on CD Lamb? Did you hear that recently?
Was it Tyler maybe? Like PPR Tyler?
He holds that he would take Jefferson in front of Lamb, but I think he also he did recently say that he would consider Puka ahead of Lamb, which to me is justifiable, but I'm just not there yet. I'm not doing it yet.
I mean, I guess I can kind of see the argument, but that's just something I would never do. Like, I would be more likely to take Lamb over Jefferson than Puka over Lamb.
Me too.
Like, yeah. I mean, I think Lamb and Jefferson are closer than Puka and Lamb are, but I can see Puka's efficiency numbers are just crazy,
insane.
He has like out of this world efficiency. So, but
wasn't he number 1 in like yards per route run?
Yeah, it was like 2.5 or something like that.
I think he was number 1 for
maybe even more.
He didn't even play every game, but So it's still a limited sample, but like I think he was still number one on a per game basis. Or I mean, I guess it's a per route run basis, so it's even finer than that. But
Well, and,
uh,
I don't know, did you see those charts that, like, Sam Sherman had? I think when he
yeah,
was on, like, Davis's stream, like, Puka was just, like, way over everyone else for first 2 years metrics and stuff, or last 2 years metrics. It
I
was
was I
crazy.
I was watching part of that stream with Davis and Sam, and I was listening to part of it, and then I think I had to like do something with my full attention during like it was like during the workday, of course. So I don't know that I specifically saw that chart, but I was familiar with the conversation they were having. But you were just saying that like Puka was like an outlier among the other guys.
Yeah, it was like Puka was like 2.5 yards per route run over his first 2 years, and the next guy was like, or over the last 2 years,
Oh, I
the
did see
next guy
that.
was like Nico, I think, and he had like 1.8 or something like
I
that, but it
did
was
see
just
that. It was a bar
that far
chart.
of a drop off. Yeah,
It was
yeah,
like a
bar
bar
chart,
chart,
yeah.
right? I did see that one. Yeah, we could probably pull it up. I bet you we could find it on Twitter. And we're in the
Oh,
seventh spot. It's nice. We're kind of in the middle of the board. We can have some time between each pick, and have some value fall to us.
mhm.
I just on my ranks, I'd go AJ Brown, but do you want to go London just to get a little bit different than what I usually do?
Yeah, sure, I'm fine with that. I mean, I personally don't mind AJ Brown over London either, but,
We've done it a
I'm
bunch.
totally cool with either one of them. I think when you get the little bit of a fall on London, it feels nice getting them there.
I've got CeeDee Lamb and Brown on two puppies, it looks like.
You
And
probably don't
then
have him with London at all, right?
with
Oh, one
London, I guess I've
for
got CeeDee
PPM.
Lamb in London on one Best Ball Mania, is what that means.
Huh.
Or
That's
actually,
actually a little surprising because that's a little bit of a fall for one of them then. Because you would think London, CD would be a little bit less common combo.
yeah, it must have been. Well, we just did it again, but I don't know. I get confused. I love Best Ball Overlay, and I'm an amateur when it comes to like fully figuring out like what I'm actually looking at because I have it filtered to all tournaments right now too, and then the dollars versus the percentage, and then like I don't know. But I think that's what that means, right? I mean, it's like CeeDee Lamb combo
Yeah,
percent.
one team and it's a best ball mania. That has to be what it is.
But then how would that? Oh, it makes up 11% of my
Out of your
CeeDee
9
Lamb teams. Yeah. Okay.
teams.
100%.
Right.
Got it. Okay. There's the math. Perfect. Figured it out. I know all these things, but then like I'm so in the zone looking at the draft board and the next picks up that like the especially in a 20-second draft, like I'm not going to fiddle too much with like trying to get unique this early in the season. But like late in the
Mhm.
season, like I know the puppy's already about to close, but especially for later in the season, Best Ball Mania, I'm going to be having this thing up, looking at my combos like between every single pick until I get out of like the first 5 rounds.
Yeah, I think, or we can make this pick real quick. Um, I'm okay with
Brown,
Chase Brown or Devontae, I think. I
I kind
mean,
of want Devontae. I think he's just freaking good.
all right, yeah. Oh, and we have London, right? So London Devontae, that's actually a good stack too. With
Definitely.
17, right? Yeah.
I think Adams is just good. They're going to figure out a way to use him very effectively. I think the Rams organization is smart. Um, I think we'll get more out of Adams in 2025 with the Rams than we got out of Cooper Kupp in 2024 with the Rams.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I think Adams has a lot more juice left. And he's been a big time red zone target just throughout his career. Because you even look, it's not just with Aaron Rodgers, even in Oakland, he was a
Fresno
big time red
with
zone
when he
target.
played with Carr at Fresno State, he was insanely good at getting touchdowns and the yardage and all that stuff.
Mhm.
I,
Yeah,
I
and I think he could be the main red zone target on this team and a team we expect to be a good offense. I mean, I think that's a great bet. Like I have a ton of Devontae.
I'm just I saw all these comments that came through, but just running it back. We tried to run it back. Yeah, we got in the puppy. Yeah, fill her up. Let's go. This is like 20 minutes ago. Sorry, I missed all y'all on that. Jeff T, what up, dog? Cleveland Q situation is untenable for best ball. Yeah, it's not looking good. If Kenny Pickett ends up being the starter and that one dude was right the whole time, Rock in a hard place or whatever, y'all know him. I'm talking about. There was like a week,
Rock Hardcastle.
Rock Hardcastle. There was like a week, a month ago, where he just popped into everyone's chat and was spamming Kenny Pickett propaganda. And if he ends up being right, I'm just gonna laugh about it. But could be. I don't think Pickett is better than Dylan Gabriel though. I'll say that.
Yeah, his hands are simply too small. He can he can't make it in the league. Kenny
Yeah, you have to
Pickett.
wear,
Kenny
you have to wear
Pickett.
the gloves.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a puppy, so puppy mindset. I
I
kind of want to
think
go T Mac, or we could take
okay, yeah.
Daniels
I
with the
lean
CeeDee
T Mac
Lamb.
also.
I kind of just want to go T Mac, and we'll figure out QB later because now we have got 4 options at QB, and 3 of them go late.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and
I don't.
I'm a
Yeah.
huge fan of T Mac in the 4th round. Like I I'm like super in on him. I think he's gonna be just a target monster on Carolina.
Wait. I didn't catch who you said there. Which player are you super high on?
Tedero and McMillan.
That's what I call a water break. I had to refill my water. Not a better time to do it than during the GMAC clip. I've
And
seen it enough.
look at
I edited that one together, so I'm very familiar with those plays. I love the one where I think it's UCF, and they're on like the 2 or 5 yard line. He does that kind of like in out fake. He goes into like the corner fade, and then he catches it one handed, and he throws the cornerback down to the ground with the other hand. Like, geez, he's such a boss. Like, he's gonna be good. Like, there's no doubt he's gonna be good. There's no way this guy's gonna bust.
well look at that clip and tell me that guy doesn't have that dog in him.
He's got
And
that
that's what
dog in
people
him.
say.
He's got the stats. He's got the film. Dude, he's gonna be good. I remember, wasn't it it was the very first Saturday of college football last year. I have to think who they were playing. Maybe it was a New Mexico State game. I have to look it up. It's one of the games, but I'm pretty sure he had 300 yards and 3 touchdowns the opening week of college football last year.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've seen that stat. That's like crazy
Do we go
stat.
Mixon for our anchor, or do we go somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think running back here.
I'll
I
take
think
Mixon.
Mixon. Yeah, that's a good value on him.
It's plenty fine, and he's good. He's good. He missed some games last season. I'm gonna pull up Mixon real quick just because I. What was it again? Was it shoulder? It was a high ankle sprain. Yeah, that's right. That's pretty bad. That's pretty damning too. And he still was good. He still was averaging 17 PPR points per game with a high ankle sprain season. So, maybe the Texans are a little bit better this year. We're all kind of thinking it, especially that they invested in the 2 receivers. Maybe the offense just is a little bit better, able to score more points. I think Mixon's still a huge part of that.
Yeah, and I don't think he cedes too much work like to Woody Marks or anything.
No,
Maybe a
no
little
way.
in the passing game, but Mixon already came off the field a little bit for like third downs, passing game snaps. So I don't think he'll lose too much work that he was already like, that he wasn't already coming off the field for a little bit before. I think he's gonna be their workhorse.
We're still talking about the Browns QB. Yeah, I think he's
Sure,
the workhorse too. Even
sure.
like I was saying, like even if Mixon plays 60 to 70% of the snaps or gets 67% of the touches, whatever the metric should be, um, that Marks is just going to be a complimentary role. I'm almost certain.
Yeah, especially with Mark's archetype. Like he's just more of a pass catching back. Best-
This is best ball breakfast for me.
early morning.
Wait, Jeff T, what time zone are you in if it's actually truly breakfast? Are you in England? Are you in the UK? I did not I don't know if I caught that yet. I would go Henderson, or we could do David Montgomery, or we could do a receiver.
I like Henderson here.
Yeah, I do
I
too.
think I think that's the pick. And then we kind of got Mixon as that anchor, so give us a guy with like a ton of upside. Maybe he comes on a little bit later, but he has that huge upside this year.
We've been doing 30-second drafts, so getting into this 20-second one, it's a little bit more rushed. Let's take a quick look to see what we got. We've got CeeDee Lamb, Drake London, Devontae Adams with our first 3 picks. All of those QBs are going to be available to us at some point in kind of the
Mhm.
mid for Dak. Probably want to grab them early, and then we've got later options with the other 3. We took T Mac, so that's another late option, and then we just went the double running back route in this range, which I think makes sense the way we're building it. Uh, I'm in on Henderson. I think he's good. I think he could just completely take over that backfield, and they're just going to want to use him as much as possible, especially in his rookie year. Mixon, of course, we just talked about. So to
Yeah.
me, or yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I'm totally bought in on Henderson too, especially like pre-draft. I think he can be very efficient, and maybe even like going to a backfield where he's not getting 100% of the work can be a little bit beneficial for him, just because he's kind of like an efficiency machine. So maybe having that early season, not having to really shoulder the load, that can make it so later in the year, maybe if they're making a little bit more of a push, or Ramondre has a couple fumbles, he takes a little more role with that efficiency, he can really start giving you like massive spikes. Uh,
I was kind of thinking some other receivers would have come back around. We don't have to take receiver here. We could take running back, and then we're just
do the
really.
double. So I'd say either Mooney or Quinshawn would be my two. Yeah, I'm fine with either of those.
I think Mooney, because we've got the
The
double with
double.
London, and we have Adams too, and it feels like something I've been trying to get on a team. I keep
Oh,
forgetting to
right. You
upload.
said you were low on Penix.
Yeah. I need to get more Penix for sure. Um, one of the graphics that I made that I keep forgetting to upload. It's a version of this one that I used to show. I never really show these anymore, but where's all this stuff?
Oh,
Background.
the inner circle.
Well, I haven't showed that in a while, right?
Yeah.
It's a version of this one, but it's Steve Buscemi. Instead of doing the hit list, I have all these different stacks that I want to get, and like one of them is Penix with London and Mooney, and it's like I have I have a version of this graphic where I just have all these different stacks I want to hit, um, and I keep forgetting to upload it, but I made it like 2 weeks ago or whatever. One of them is like Dak with CD and Pickens, and then another one is like Stroud with Nico and Higgins and or Knoll, like probably just or
Mhm.
Knoll like thing, and then one of them is Daniels with McLaurin and Ertz, which is kind of like these are not all impossibly hard. Of course, Burrow and Chase is on there, and I think I put Kasicki and or T. I mean, the more I've thought about it, I probably don't want to have Chase and T and Burrow. It's like you want Burrow with one or the other. I think most of the time, it's hard to know though. It's really hard to know. It just seems like it's kind of a lot with that much capital up front. So, anyways, all that to say, I've got this hit list of guys I wanted to get, and so we've been able to pull off the London Mooney. So we got to try to get Penix on this one. We feel really good. We have the Devontae Adams bring back.
What and kind of like you were talking before, maybe this is one when we start getting close to his range. Maybe we actually do look at grabbing him like a little bit earlier than normal because the capital there, we were kind of talking about this earlier, like last night,
Yep.
where the capital there, like it's not really worth pushing it because what do you really gain from that? So we should, when it gets that time, we should really be looking at him maybe even around early.
Pick 90 coming up. Brian Robinson's kind of a nice pick here to go with CeeDee Lamb week 17.
Yeah, I'd probably lean Robinson. I think we're
I think
pretty
I
good at
am.
receiving.
I think I'm leaning Robinson here like pretty easily. I need to adjust my ranks a little bit. Um, they're still close to what I truly believe, but when it comes to like position groups, I think I can just shift some things around where I might just want to shift like the Igbuka and other rookie wide receiver group a little bit further behind than where I currently have them, and then keep
Mhm.
Brian Robinson kind of at ADP.
Yeah, and it's always just so tough because, like, in this room, you kinda see, like, I don't know, just how the board falls, like, sometimes Brian Robinson, Pacheco, they end up being the very top guy on your list anyways, and then sometimes people kinda leave those rookie receivers and stuff to fall a little. So, it's just tough to say with the rankings and, like, kinda the ranges like these. It feels like it can really change room to room, like, who's left, who's not. Oh,
Hmm.
I was gonna say too when you were mentioning the hit list thing, I actually ended up, getting pretty lucky with the one. The, Dallas double with the Lamb, Pickens, and Dak. I actually ended up having 2 BBMs with that double, like, before he got traded.
Oh,
I
sweet.
got I got pretty lucky with that one. Just happened to be Lamb teams where, Pickens, like, lined up when he was still a Steeler.
That's sick. I went through some of my teams in that way, but I was mostly looking through my best ball manias for the QB bye weeks that were a conflict, like in conflict.
Oh, yeah.
And what it really was, I had one of them. I think I did like 14 best ball manias before the schedule, or so, I don't know, maybe 12. Who knows? Something like that. Only one of them that I drafted happened to be a two QB build where I had Tua and Jaden Daniels, and they had the same bye week 12, right?
Mm.
Week 12.
Uh Tua and Jane, yeah, yeah, Commanders and Dolphins are both that week.
Yeah, so I knew that
Yeah.
they had the same bye. And I was I'm pretty sure it's 12. I think we just confirmed it is, but
Or yeah, week 12, yeah.
Egbuka's still there, so we've actually got a little follower on him. Love to get
I mean, I'm cool taking or what were you about to say? I'm cool with
no,
like
it's,
Buka or Mason. Yeah, I mean, I think like Buka Faller, like when especially when you pulled up the receiver tab, I mean that's a pretty steep drop at receiver.
yeah,
And then now we can I mean, we don't really have to look at receiver again for a while.
for
Um,
sure. Our receivers are
okay, yeah.
stacked.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it works out pretty good putting Ibuka on a team like this too, where we feel like he's not gonna be a guy to produce super early, but he's our wide receiver 6. You
It's a
know,
bet
getting
on
him at that
talent.
little bit of a value,
Yeah,
it feels a lot better having him there than if, like, maybe we went a little thinner at receiver or something. I think since we hammered it so hard early, we really can benefit from a guy like that who might not come on till later in the year.
for me, it's a bet on talent in a good offense. So Egbuka makes sense, but I do see the counter argument against him where Godwin and Evans are still the guys. Maybe Godwin starts off slow and Egbuka has a role, but then his role like diminishes as Godwin goes to full strength. You still have Otten there who's going to play every down almost. And then with Jalen McMillions, he's not going to go to zero. So he'll have to factor in at some point. So I see both sides of it. I'm just pretty bullish on Egbuka because I like what I saw at Ohio State, and I think Ohio State is one of those schools that's like a factory. I mean, at many positional groups, but wide receiver has been traditionally one of their strengths.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can definitely see that, especially with the capital they put in. Yeah, just Dak here is good. But yeah, especially with the capital they put into Ibuka. I mean, he was 19th overall pick. Is that
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
Yeah, so I mean, to to spend the 19th overall pick on him when you do have that much talent at receiver is pretty bullish just for how the Buccaneers view him and how they view him in their offense. So, yeah, I definitely like getting him and like he might start a little slower, maybe he doesn't even start a little slower, but even if he does, I think we have the talent to support that around him.
with
We
Egbuka.
week
The only
one.
the only
Yeah.
reason I don't think he starts slow is because he's such like a seasoned collegiate player where he played. I'm pretty sure he played 4 full seasons at Ohio State, and he was commanding targets away from the likes of Marvin Harrison Jr.
Mhm.
The list goes on. Other guys that he played
Yeah.
with. Maybe JSN was there as well. I think JSN was there
Yeah.
recently enough, but
And
just
I've
like
seen I've seen stuff saying too, the Bucks are a great fit 'cause he's used to being the 3rd best receiver on the team. That is a pretty bullish fit. But no, yeah, he was able to command a good amount of targets even with Ohio State's had insane receiver talent for the last couple of years, and he's been able to get a good target share all those years.
yeah. Jeremiah Smith was the name that I was scratching my head, and then
Oh,
uh,
yeah, he's the next, like, Julio Jones, basically. That's what
I
everyone
guess
says at
so.
least.
He's like this up and coming true freshman. It was like just an instant hit.
Yeah, well, people think he's gonna be, like at least from what I've seen, he's gonna be, like, top 10 pick easily, if not maybe, like, top 5 pick in the draft when he comes out. But, early in his college career, so we'll see how that actually plays out. I remember when Quinn Ewers was gonna be, like, the number 1 pick.
Are you trying to offend me right now?
Oh, they still did good. They had a good season. They had a good season in spite of that.
No, I'm just like Quinn Ewers supposed to be
Yeah,
the number
yeah.
one pick. It's like, man, he goes in the
You
7th round. I'm gonna
you guys
cry.
got Arch. You guys got Arch. It's fine.
I know, and he's the truth. Anyone that doesn't know, it's about to find out. It's gonna be insane. I think just Penix. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we locked down that double stack. I do like Tootin here, but I think
Uh,
Penix to lock down that double stack is, that's what we were talking about before, where it's worthwhile, even if we're maybe passing on a guy that we like, or at least, a guy I like. I think you're okay with Tootin, but or
yeah,
yeah, you like Tootin too. You have quite a bit, but I think kind of like we were talking about earlier, reaching to grab that stack by a little bit is probably worth it when we put in so much capital to the Falcons,
and
and with
that game.
Devontae, we have the game stack, yeah.
Yeah, it may be a little bit because 20 picks ahead of ADP or so, but he easily could have gone in round 12. Don't want to risk him going in round 11 to just someone who's excited about him. It's to me, it's not much of an overpay. We'll see what we can get at pick 38, and then we'll come back and check. Would it have been better to get a Blue or a Tootin or a Spears at pick 27 and then gotten Penix at 28 with the caveat of like a 95 or 90% confidence that he would have even been there? Like that has to be factored in too. So I don't know. We've been talking about this. I was happy to do it because it's a 20-second pick clock, and I didn't want to like dwell on like, oh, do we get Tootin and then push him, or like just see, we might not even grab a running back there either. We could go for our first tight end.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that is true. Because I think there's still a couple pretty good tight ends up here. Um, so yeah, I think we have a few options there.
The other
Uh,
part of it is, would we even be able to get Tucker Craft or Ferguson at pick 51 if, for instance, we took the running back at 27, we took Penix at 38, like
yeah, I
a,
don't think so. I don't think they're coming back.
it's
So
kind of that
yeah,
it's that piece where it's like sometimes you need two players that go in the same round or near each other, so you're gonna have to pull one of them up.
right, right. Yeah, yeah. So we probably did actually make the right call then, especially with all these tight ends coming back. That probably was the right call to just grab Penix there, just completely lock it up, and then now we can grab a tight end. I
Yeah,
mean, unless you really wanted Algier, I would probably lean tight end here.
I don't really want Algier. Um, Should we go Ferguson or Kraft as quick as you can make a call?
Let's go Ferguson.
I think so too, because we did miss out on Pickens, and Dak's a pocket passer. we've
Right.
already made a lot of investment into him too, and then Tucker Kraft's kind of a different bet where I don't think we even have any pieces of Green Bay.
Right, it's just an uncorrelated bet where I do like Kraft as a player, and, like, in
Right.
a vacuum, I like him over Ferguson,
I
but
do
I think
too.
they're comparable, and with the
Right.
correlation, only having that single stack with Dak and him not really having the rushing upside, we kinda project Dallas's running game to be a little bit weak too,
Right.
so maybe that does kinda open up Ferguson to still be viable, especially, like, with a red zone role. Having them already stacked and the running game might be a little bit weak. So, I don't know. I like that pick there.
I do too. So now the game becomes like, would you rather push Penix to 38? Although it's not really pushing because that's still in front of his ADP. But like, you get Penix at 38, and then you grab Ferguson 13 picks ahead of ADP. Like,
Eh,
it's one or the other, and you want Penix. It secures the team. It lands the plane better. It secures the whole team we've been building, and then we ended up not taking a running back, and look how many running backs have gone since our pick. Yes, there was 5 that went here, and I kind of like all of those 5 guys. Maybe Blue the least, but he would have at least correlated with
mhm.
this team with the Dallas bet and like been kind of on the right track. But then since we took Ferguson, there's been one running back who's gone. Like we're gonna get a decent running back that falls to us, and look at all the tight ends that went.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. I think that definitely worked out as good as it could have. Hopefully we get him. Yeah. I
So
think Algier.
I think Algiers
Oh,
the pick, but like I just don't have a lot of faith in Pitts, and I don't think it's worth triple stacking.
we could get Eckler for the bring back on our Dallas too.
We have B Rob.
Oh, right. Okay. Algier. That's right.
I don't feel strongly enough about Pitts that he's actually good. It's not even that much ADP value, and I don't know. I feel like
I
with
mean, maybe
Mooney in London, that's enough for me. And then we have Algier, which is kind of like it's kind of like it's also the fact that he's on the Falcons, but also just like he's a good pick there.
right. I think more just him because he's a good pick there, and since he does have kind of contingent upside, like he's just kind of more hoping for like an injury in that like single week outcome. I think just throughout the season, he might hit your lineup here and there. It's not like every single week Penix has to be the smash. Like he's not even our primary stack, so to speak. So like that's more the Dallas stack, right?
Right.
So like I just think Algier is a good value there, and I think it's kind of a tier break after him with the guys after. Um. Oh, and then okay, so Pitts goes. Uh. Yeah, and I think we're probably looking. We could also look at another tight end probably pretty soon.
Yeah. I was
Um.
cool with push. I mean, maybe I'll come around to Pitts like one day. If we didn't have Mooney, I'd be like, yeah, let's grab Pitts there probably more often.
Yeah, I'm not really into Pitts. I just saw that he went, but I was actually
Yeah.
thinking. There's another tight end I was thinking of that we might want to grab right here. Uh.
This one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking him because that works pretty good for the bring back on our Dallas, and then I also just think he's a pretty good pick right here in general.
Yeah, he's also just good.
Yeah,
Otherwise, we've
so that
got
that
two.
works out. We have that game really stacked. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. This is an interesting option. Not that we need another
Oh,
QB,
because
but
we
like
have T-Mac.
it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I'm fine with either one. If you wanna go Bryce, I'm totally cool with that too.
I I think it's a slightly better pick
Okay, yeah.
because we didn't have to go 3 QBs, but we feel really strong at wide receiver, so I don't know how much more we're gonna take. Like, I'm not saying we're
Mhm.
done at wide receiver. We honestly maybe could be. It'd be just weird to take only 6, although that's what won Best Ball Mania 4 was a 3-6-6. Wasn't it? It was a 3-6-6-3 build, which is pretty
Okay.
strange to do, but not like it. It should be mixed in at some frequency. this is kind of a wide receiver room that could get us there with a 3-6-6-3. And then I think with the
Well, we
with the
even could stop at 5 running backs too.
yeah. So it could be like a 3,
3
5,
starters and a contingent guy.
7, 3. Obviously, yeah, that's kind of how it wraps up.
Yeah, but I mean, I think either one could be pretty viable, 3-6-6-3 or 3-5-7-3. I think either one could be pretty viable with this build.
Definitely. That brings Rico into the conversation in kind of a nice way because he could be he's not like the best pass catcher, and maybe he's just more of a change of pace back with Chuba, but
Mhm.
it's not terrible, right?
Well, and I think with it being our last quarterback, like our lowest owned stack, we're also making the bet by having that stack that the offense improves as a whole. So just getting pieces in it is a good call, right? Even if maybe he doesn't directly correlate with our quarterback, we're betting on Carolina being an improved offense in general. So I think it's good to get. Oh, okay, but I mean,
Yeah,
you
he
went.
goes. I mean, I was open to it, but I
Yeah,
kind of thought we needed to go tight end anyways. Um,
yeah,
do we
yeah,
take Otten to get? Did we taken a lot of Fryermuth? Do we take Otten because it lines up better with taking a Buka, and now we're going more for a Bucks kind of position, or do you
yeah.
think Fryermuth's just better?
I think we go Otten. I think they're both. Uh, okay,
Whoops.
yeah. I mean,
Oh well.
I prefer Mute. I prefer Muth, but
Yeah,
with what you were saying, like building out kind of the Bucks thing, I'm open to Otten over Friar Muth. I think they're comparable. I lean Muth, but comparable players.
yeah, and I don't. I was like a coin flip for me. If we would have got either one, I could have seen both sides. I think Muth is who I'm taking more often based on my exposures, especially. And it's
Oh
still
yeah.
it's not even that. Maybe it's not that much of a. It gives us an interesting. We already have the Egbuka week 16 against Carolina, so there's already an interesting correlation there. Maybe Otten's there for our next pick, and then we consider him there as well. This could be one where we go late with like a JT Sanders, although I'm not crazy about him, so like I don't want to force that. But I did see that Thielen was already gone, and then as far as the Carolina picks, it would make sense because like we're kind of done at wide receiver, or we're close to done. We could do Coker or Sanders. We don't have to. And then Seattle wise, there's only MVS, Horton, and Arroyo left, but like any of these picks could still fit, right? So these are kind of the guys that I'm considering. And then running back
Mhm.
wise, we probably just go with one more. And it's the usual suspects that we keep running into at this range.
Yeah. Yeah, every time we keep picking running. Oh, I like I actually like Shipley. That'd probably be a pretty good one. I think if Otten's there, we go Otten, but if not, then Shipley, Hunter. I like both of those ones.
Yeah, I'm starting to think Hunter is an interesting pick, especially with the way we've played this.
Oh, right, because we have the Atlanta, so then get some more to stack out that game even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good call. Yeah, I like Hunter here then. I
And
mean,
I think we're going to see Hunter potentially separate from Corum or not, but like people might, we might, we might assume that he's like winning out that role, even if we don't have a lot of evidence for it. I
well,
mean,
I think what I like with Hunter is that he's not the one-to-one Kyron clone. He's kind of the guy that gives them a different element, right? He's the more explosive player. So like maybe if Kyron goes down, Corum is the guy you want a little bit more. But I think Hunter's the guy who could actually mix in and kind of be the change of pace guy on a week to week basis, like without an injury.
yeah, I like
Um,
that. We've
yeah.
got two picks left. It's a 3-5-6-2 so far. Got Dak with CD and Ferguson, Penix with London and Mooney, Bryce Young with T Mac, and we've got bringbacks for the Rams game, the Cowboys game, Falcons game, the Cowboys game. We don't have to get a bring back for the Seattle game, but we've got three options that kind of fit what we're going for, considering we're done at tight end. We're done at QB. We're probably done at running back. We think
Mhm.
We don't have to take another receiver, but we can, right? We could take one more receiver. We can take one more tight end. Probably we could stop at 2 tight ends. I don't think we have to. So pretty much it's really whatever we think we want to go with. And I just don't
I
think we need any running backs
I think I
necessarily.
would pretty heavily lean towards a third tight end as one of the picks.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think so. Let me see the the receivers and running backs real quick, like on our team.
Oh, sure. Our receivers are CeeDee Lamb, London Adams, T-Mac, Mooney, Buka. Pretty good on bye
Okay.
weeks. And then the running backs was these 5: Mixon, Henderson, Robinson, Algier, Hunter. Would you go
I
Arroyo over JT Sanders or just pick Sanders for the stack?
I think Sanders for the stack
I,
because
I've,
we
I've
only
always,
have T-Mac, right?
yeah, I think
Yeah. So
it's potential that, like, because Coker already went, but Coker might not be on the field. Um, Sanders, you would think, could be on the field at the same time as T-Mac. Maybe
right,
Coker wins
right.
the role that takes over Legette's spot, so it's that could be true too. But I think I forget who said it, but at some point the research kind of shows, or some of the data had shown that, like, it's if all else equal, it's a better bet just to take the player stacked with your QB than it is to pick the player who's the week 17 bring back. Like, all other
Right,
things
because we're
equal,
betting on the offense as a
we're betting
whole,
on the
right?
offense throughout the season. We're not just betting on one player at one point in the future, like in one game.
Right, right. Because if Seattle implodes, then it's like we're not betting on that offense with any other part of our team, so it's just a bring back. And we already have our other games that we expect to kind of be better games, like higher scoring. We have bringbacks on those, and we still have an opportunity to get bring back on this one.
Yep.
And and maybe in a better way because I think a lot of us are thinking like Noah Fant might get cut, but there's also a chance he just doesn't. And then, Elijah Arroyo has a hard time seeing the field where Jatavion Sanders, like, I guess he kind of has like Tommy Tremble in his way, but he showed some
I
potential
think
last
Trimble's gone
year.
now, actually. Was he still there?
I thought they re signed someone at tight end.
It might have been Trimble. I can't remember. I can't remember. I cannot remember at all. That tight end situation's always been kind of up for
Yeah, they
grabs.
re signed Tremble. He was a
Okay.
free agent
He's
though.
never really done much. So
Yeah.
then maybe Sanders needs to take a step forward. I like Horton here. Do you think you'd go Horton, or is it anyone else? MVS, one of the running backs.
I also agree. I think Horton. I think with the strength of our receiver room, we can afford to take a swing on another rookie. Because maybe he has real upside like season long,
Yeah,
and also just his archetype, he's kind of like a deeper play outside receiver, right?
I
So
think so.
he might give us more spike week upside.
Think so.
I guess
That
MVS is the same argument, but he's a little bit older. Like we
sure.
kind of know what MVS is.
It can be hard to. Yeah, with MVS, he's played with some of the best quarterbacks in the league, like Rodgers and Mahomes, and was never really a guy you needed.
Derek Carr.
The Derek Carr, yeah, I thought there Derek Carr in there, and now he's playing with Sam Darnold, so another great, another future Hall of Famer. That was tough with the 20-second clock that we had done, like 2 drafts that were 30-second clocks, and then we switched back to the 20-second clock. I could not keep up with anything in the chat, so I
I,
apologize, but I appreciate y'all being here and hanging and drafting with us. I'll try to, like, skip through. Appreciate you, Chris B, for being here. You're always such a positive energy in the chat. Appreciate it all, and hope you're having a great night, man. And we got Fantasy Dog just loving on the Candyman. Appreciate you. Pickens, Garrett Wilson, etc. Ooh, did someone get that? Is that what we saw up in the front? It must have been. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's Nick's team. Yeah, Nick's team's looking pretty good. He did the anchor with Gibbs, took a bunch of nice wide receivers. Came back, got some value on Montgomery. I think it's Montgomery Gibbs. That's kind of interesting, actually. Not something I do a lot, but mix it in.
I do think that's a pretty viable backfield to get both pieces, even
Oh
though you're
yeah,
spending such high capital. Like they can both put up big weeks the same week, even or the ping pong thing. The ping pong thing can always work out.
appreciate you checking in, Anthony. I caught some of Anthony's stream earlier today. I think it was this morning, pretty early on. Best ball on call, Anthony. He goes live, and he has some really good takes too. So if you haven't already checked him out, make sure you guys check out Anthony's channel. Give him a sub. Throw him a like on his recent video. He's a true OG in the chat, always holding it down. So appreciate him being here. Sorry I missed you on that last draft, Steve. Appreciate you checking in as well. And we'll catch you in another draft real soon. Have a great night, man. It was only a few minutes ago, so there's a chance he was still around for that. And then Nick, yeah, that was a fun one, Nick. We'll have to check it on your team, Fantasy Dog. And then Hartman, I don't know if you noticed, but right before that draft started, I modded you in the chat. Did you notice that?
Oh no. Oh, okay. I'm a mod now. There we go.
Yeah, I think I meant to mod you in the past. And then I don't know, because I threw out a few mods to just anyone who I thought could wield the wrench. And I'm sure I'll add more people in the future too. And I don't think it actually means anything. It essentially just means if someone comes in here and acts a fool and I'm ranting about Quinn Ewers for 5 straight minutes without looking at the chat, then it's your responsibility to
drop that hammer on
to
him.
drop the hammer. But otherwise, I have no idea. I don't think I'm a mod in a single person's chat, so I don't actually know what you can do with that.
It's actually just real quick. It was a little funny today. PBR Tyler, he was talking about like he needed another mod, and I think he made me and one other person a mod, and they just went and immediately like put someone in timeout, and they're like I didn't like what he was saying off to the dungeon with you.
Yeah.
it was just pretty great.
He was live for a little bit earlier today, wasn't he? He did like a few drafts.
Yeah, he went live like around like noon or 1 or something like that.
Yeah, it was 3:00 my time, I'm pretty sure. I checked in for some of that, but I was just kind of multitasking, doing real life stuff. So I was listening in, and then I had to drop off at some point. I almost joined a draft, but then I just didn't have time to do it. So I didn't really catch everything going on. But then, he jumped in on Cody's stream, is where I was right before I jumped into my own stream. Cody off the Schneid was going, and PPR jumped in that a few beers deep, which is always funny to see. And then apparently he was going to jump from Cody's stream to BBG's stream, who I'm pretty sure is also still alive. I'm going to do a quick peek in and see what BBG's up to. If PPR is still in there, Cody's in there.
He was turned off the bush apples.
Which is funny because PPR said he was going to be in BBG stream, and now on Cody's stream, and then I look in and it's Cody and BBG going. So maybe PPR passed out, or maybe he just called it quits for the night. It is 1 a.m. Central, and then Cody is Mountain Time, so he gets like an extra hour bonus.
Okay.
Yeah, gotta get that. Hell yeah. Funny. Yeah, I got a lot of dogs in my chat. We got that dog in us in the garage.
Yeah. You got the dog. We all got the dog in us.
Got that dog. Let's look at these teams. We got Fantasy Dog literally in here. We got myself, Nick Bach. We got Ben. Got a few bros in here. I kind of just want to I guess we can look at it this way too. I'll zoom out a little bit. I always feel like the side window is a bit too small, but if I zoom out one more, it kind of works better.
Yeah. I think this was actually probably the best team we built like tonight.
You think so?
I think just with the correlation, like
Yeah.
in the stacks we got, I mean, it pretty much came out like I was super happy with this one. I think no real weaknesses on it. We got everything stacked, everything's correlated. I think it came out really good.
And I agree. What's sweet is like, I think back to the Best Ball Manifesto, and it's like, which positional group do you want to be like in the cheaper draft capital buckets? Typically, except for last year, which is kind of like an anomaly, or not anomaly, but just like a different data point. Typically, you want your running back group to not be like too much of your draft capital. Like you want it to be just the right amount. And I think tight end goes back and forth between like, oh, you need an elite in some years, or you kind of push it. We kind of pushed it,
Mhm.
which I tend to like better this season because all of the tight ends that are available like really late. Our correlation's pretty sick. And then I guess what I was going to get to is we took Penix 20 picks ahead of ADP, and this is like probably the best team we've drafted. Like, so like that just tells you how much that doesn't matter. Like the fact that we reached up for Penix, like it's actually ideal to do it because we had the double stack with the bring back all set up, and we couldn't risk it. Imagine this team without Penix. Maybe it's
Right.
Matt Stafford, and it doesn't look like crazy worse, but I think Penix is more exciting than Stafford, and like justifies it.
I think especially having the double and, Stafford is a player that doesn't really, like, give us much upside, at least feeling wise, so, like, it, yeah, RB or tight end always later. I agree with that. But yeah, like Stafford doesn't really inspire as much confidence, and we only have the single with him, and it's not the best player on the Rams as a pass catcher. At least by draft capital, that's Puka. Maybe if we had Puka and then London and Mooney, we feel just as good with Stafford. But with Devontae, he's kind of the number two guy, so you don't really feel as good getting Stafford as you do with Penix in that situation. I think.
That's another good point. Something that you and I were talking about last night is when you have that wide receiver one on a given offense where we have CD in London, you
Mhm.
have to prioritize getting the QB that stacks with them because the bring back is just not as strong as a position to have. Like if we would have built this out around Jaden Daniels, yeah, it'd have been cool. But a Jaden Daniels CD Lamb, it could be good too. I mean, plus this may be another bad example or not the best example because Jane Daniels has the rushing upside and he's elite and he can separate. But to me, a Dak CD Lamb team is like what I'd want to ideally have. And then again, I look back, so like you said about the Adams thing, we've got Adams, but he's the wide receiver two on his team. He's like truly a great bring back option. And then we also had T Mac, who's the wide receiver one on his team. We'll assume he gets there. Like I think he will be. And we also got Bryce Young at like a really decent value.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean all of our top 3 guys who are like presumed wide receiver ones, we stacked all of them. We got maybe varying levels of bringbacks, but we
Right.
got bringbacks to all those guys too. So I think it feels pretty good. I guess just our Dallas, right? We got B Rob. So yeah, we got
Yeah,
bringbacks on everything.
we literally have double stacks and bringbacks on every single quarterback we pack. So we've got Dak with CD and Ferguson. The bringback is B Rob. We've got
Mhm.
Penix with London and Mooney. We also have Algier, although it's he's not really a pass catcher, so it's not like the most correlated bet, but it's kind of a team bet. And then we have
Mhm.
the bring back with um,
Devontae.
Devontae Adams, and then we also have Jarquez Hunter. So like another piece, like super correlated. We've got Bryce Young with T Mac and the double stack through Jatavian Sanders. The bring back on the Torrey Horton, which is like a guy I've wanted to click more of, and I never find the right team to do it. We finally found the right team to take Torrey Horton. It's when you've already got 6 stud wide receivers through your first 100, picks, and then you tack on like the very last pick as a Torrey Horton. I
Mhm.
wouldn't be surprised if we had like another mini in here somewhere, but it doesn't really look like it. If anything, we just have like Buka playing Carolina in week 16, which is kind of cool and
Yeah.
random and just like happens. Otherwise, I don't think we have any other like minis, but like our
But
team is so
I mean,
correlated.
I
Like,
think we correlated it so much it's hard to even have minis in there.
yeah,
Yeah.
this team is sick. I will say, like, I'm gonna put Hartman on it so he gets his equity, and then I'll put a little star on this one to keep my eye on it because, like I said, I'm doing probably about 50 puppies. It's gonna close any day now. This is like seems like a good one to be like. I would take this team over like probably if I just grabbed 2 or 3 random other teams, I'd probably sell those, but like trade off those to like make sure I had this one because this one just seems like so much like there could be just random other like puppies that I've done where like just they don't like feel that good, like they're not going to hit or anything. But then this one like seems like if it gets out and advances out of this pod, like it could be really strong in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think it balanced out really well too, just with like capital at like per position, where we maybe didn't spend a ton at QB, but we still feel good. Wide receiver feels super strong. RB feels pretty good. Tight end feels pretty good even with lower capital.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Like we keep saying it, and we'll eventually like I'm sure you do it too. I'll do it eventually. Like take the elite tight end or take like more middle tight ends, but I
We
can't get
did
off.
one. We did one last night with Trey McBride.
Yeah, and that was because we got McBride at like what pick 33 or something or whatever it was.
No, we took him right on the turn. There was another guy who got McBride at 33, and then he
Oh yeah.
then he picked like Laporta in like the sixth
Oh
round.
yeah, I remember that one now.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, I guess we did. Yeah, we did take a McBride team. It happens, but like I have never drafted a late tight end team that I didn't like because like even if you showed me like Ferguson, Freiermuth, Sanders, it's not like it's not the craziest best one. I'd kind of want Ferguson and Freiermuth to to carry it, and then like this isn't the most inspiring tight end room, but I think it's definitely good enough based on what we've seen with like recent history of winners in different tournaments and like their tight end rooms.
yeah, yeah. No, I think it's pretty solid with the lower capital.
What up, BBG?
What's up,
BBG,
BBG?
are you still currently live, or did you just wrap up? Okay, just wrapped up. I was gonna say we just peeked in BBG to see. We were curious if PPR had made it from Cody's stream earlier to your stream, which he claimed he was gonna do. I don't know if he joined in there early, but I looked over and it was Cody that was in your stream, so that was pretty funny. I think we checked in like 10 minutes ago, just a quick peek. But yeah, man, appreciate you stopping by. Hope your streams went well. I'll have to check in later to see what you guys got into. Yeah, Hartman's out here. We've been ripping them. We did 3 last night and then 2.5 tonight. You kind of came in and helped me land that best ball mania that I thought was a pretty good one. And then
Oh yeah,
the
yeah. That's a nice squad.
It was the eliminator we did was fine. It's always different doing the elim. And then this puppy's like, this is probably my favorite puppy we've drafted. Like the more we talk about it, like this is definitely my favorite puppy I've done.
Yeah, yeah. No, I really like how this one came out. I think, yeah, the capital spend at each position was great, and then we got a lot of correlation, a lot of bringbacks. Feels like a really strong team.
Yeah. Oh, and then Brandon, sorry I left you hanging there. I meant to answer this one, but we've just been like obsessed with
Glaze
looking at
on
the
this
team.
team.
Yeah. I'm not going to do another one tonight, but real soon for sure. Like definitely we'll be back in these streets. So you have to catch us on another one soon. But I think it's getting close to that hour. We're going to review some of these teams. Like we'll kind of like sign off and do a few more, but we're about to wrap it up. I don't think we'll do another one tonight. We'll see what. Yeah, Fantasy Dogs ended up with Naked Burrow, which is always gross. So 4-7. I know. Anthony, you've got some of these early morning streams on covered. So like I was saying, appreciate you being here. Make sure everyone checks out Best Ball on Call. Check out his channel. Make sure you're sub too. And then I don't know if I done any promo, but maybe I don't know if I stepped away, but make sure you guys check out Hartman's channel. Make sure you're sub too. And yeah, it's always fun having Hartman on and in the chat and on the stream, getting all of the comments and in the chat and then on the stream, like drafting these sick teams. Like we're really getting some nice ones. We'll leave it there though. We'll stop like obsessing over
Yeah.
this one team.
I
Let's
think
look.
we've glazed it enough.
I know it doesn't, man, that's the most I've ever been into a team where I'm like, I can't get over how nice it looks. But Ben is a little 2592. Ben stopped by last night. He might be listening in. But he was in this one with us. He goes, we'll gotta quickly go through that. 2592 is probably my most common structure in 2023, but I don't do it as much anymore.
Mm.
I just don't really prefer the ninth wide receiver as much. Hurts, Herbert, got the Najee and the Saquon. That always looks good. This running back room is like very nice. I
Yeah, it's a
think
really strong running back room.
the wide receivers is good enough too. He goes for the double stack late with the Mike Williams, so I kind of see why he did like took the 9. And then sometimes when
Must have
you,
missed out on Purdy.
yeah, because he was setting up for the Purdy stack. and I still like having two pieces of a good offense. It kind of like when you have a really strong running back room, and sometimes you're kind of like making up at wide receiver. I've done it where like I've taken, let's just say Godwin Igbuka in kind of a similar range, and like it feels good because you're just making a bet that like that team will be good, and you don't have the QB, but it helps you like maybe catch up at wide receiver a little bit. Although you were not that far behind going T and Metcalf, so it's not like it was really behind. And then
Mhm.
yeah, the Titans look good enough.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty solid squad overall. I think even though receiver was like a little bit lighter early, he threw plenty of volume in the mid range at it where it feels like solid at receiver even without spending super early capital. Killer at running back. I think pretty good at quarterback, maybe tight end. Tight end was actually decent for having two. So yeah, really solid team overall.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's interesting. Um,
Mhm.
and you go Barkley, Bucky Irving. I guess he got Bucky in the third, which is like really sweet. And like that's what I was kind of uh eyeing was he got Bucky at 28. So then he's just kind of figuring out how to make this team work after that because he took Saquon early, and then I wouldn't pass on Bucky either. So it makes sense to me.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Tell me what you think about Nick Box team with the 2-6-8-2. We already spoiled that he had Gibbs and Montgomery as his first two running backs, but Hartman, tell me what
Right.
you think about this build.
All right. So we got Caleb and Trevor, Gibbs, Montgomery, Pacheco, Tank, Rico. So Caleb and Trevor, I think that's fine to stop at two. I'd feel pretty comfortable stopping at two with that. And then at running back, he's got Gibbs, Montgomery, Pacheco, Tank, Rico. And then you scroll down a little bit.
Yep, yep.
Okay, so then Jalen Wright. So
You want Tank to
RB,
hit.
yeah, you need Tank to hit. I I don't know, like stacking Gibbs and Montgomery, it feels okay, but I just don't know. It might be like too little of capital with them if like only one of them's really hitting. You will get some
Hmm.
weeks where both can hit your lineup, but I wonder if it does limit upside too much where just because he went a little bit later with the other running backs. Like he does have Pacheco. I think he could be pretty good, but it's
I
I
think
think
so
it's an
too.
okay RB room, but maybe a little bit limited on the upside it can give you week to week basis.
If Gibbs and Montgomery just repeat what last year was, then like I think it definitely pays off, right? And then I guess
Mhm.
the only risk would be, I mean, you'd want Gibbs to like take more of the role and hit, but then you're kind of eating into what Montgomery ends up with if Gibbs takes more of the touchdowns or like more of the touches in general. But it's, I mean, I've done other builds before where I have like two good running backs in a backfield. Um, I think the only thing I'll say is like sometimes it feels a little bit better if the draft capital isn't so high to accomplish that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I do think with the Lions backfield, like if you look year over year, they score more points than any other backfield over like the last
Oh
3
yeah,
years. Um, so you can hit with that, and especially with it being such a high scoring offense. It just feels like upside might be a little bit limited, but
that's
I
a good
think
point though.
decent RB room overall.
Yeah, it's like the best running back duo. So like actually, maybe it makes a lot of sense. Let me know your take on these wide receivers too, because he's gotten some like late stacks, but he also
Mhm.
I just realized he had Devonta Smith and AJ Brown. She's got the two Eagles wide receivers.
Um, okay, so Smith, AJB, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Pickens, Odunze, Bateman,
Pretty
Danny
strong.
Brown, Dontavian Wicks. Yeah, I think it's a pretty strong receiver room overall. And I think like he did get both Eagles guys, which in general, I'm not a huge fan of that, but I think he got AJ Brown a little bit after ADP, and then he got Smith at a fair price. And then I think he got a lot of those mid-range guys. He got JSN. So he's not overly relying on those Eagles pass catchers. I think it's a really strong like receiver room overall. Um, and then got the stacks a little bit late. Obviously, I'm sure he was kind of hoping for Hurts. And
And he's got the
then
tight
tight
ends all
end.
stacked up.
Oh,
That's
okay. So
pretty
you
nice.
got both tight ends stacked too.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, good amount of correlation then. And then I think overall, um, the quarterbacks are fine. The receiver's pretty solid. I think he spent enough mid-round capital to kinda, like, save the going double Eagles thing even without getting hurt. I just
Yeah.
feel like maybe the running backs are a little limited on upside, but I feel like that's other than that, and even that's, like, fine. I think the team overall is pretty solid, though. What
Yeah.
do you think?
A lot of fun pieces, definitely. A lot of good offenses. The Eagles, the
Yeah.
Cowboys, um, hopefully the Jaguars are better. Hopefully, the Bears are better than they've been. And then the Lions, like I'm obsessed with the Lions offense, any piece of that. So I think a lot of good pieces on this one. And you never know what it takes. So like it's hard. It's hard to be critical. I think we made some good points, but I think that was a fun team. Fantasy Dog goes with a 3-5-8-2. He claims a naked Burrow. Let's see if he what he did. He took Milrow, which is always kind of ballsy. Geno Smith, I like. You must have Bowers then, but you're in
Hopefully
the 8th spot.
Bowers or at least Jacoby Besh, something like that. Okay, Bowers.
He's got
That's good.
Bowers and Mark Andrews. That's good with those two. The Yoshivas late. So I mean, it wasn't completely naked. He got Yoshivas, but like it might as well be naked. Um, but I think it's fine. James Conner, Swift, Scattaboo, Blue, White. The running back room has some nice pieces. Definitely some guys with the rookie upside, and then the two up front to hold it down. And it's the wide receivers. It's kind of like those first three look real nice. It's tough. We were talking about this last night. When you take neighbors, it's tough to make the team look incredible because you'd never have the right QB stack. And we don't see people taking Russell Wilson. We sometimes see them taking late dart, but then you still don't know if you're
Mhm.
right on like what, you know, is Russell Wilson worth having? Does dart play enough games?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree, like, just with Neighbors, he's a little hard to stack. Obviously, like, it did hurt a little getting, getting the on-stack Burrow. I think Fantasy Dog said earlier that, like, they timed out on that one. So so that
Yeah.
does that does make it a little bit, like, tougher when that happens, but, because 'cause you're kinda spending that elite QB capital, but you don't really have any of that, like, any of that team bet in. So it makes it a little tough. I think maybe as a result, like, the wide receivers on that team ended up being kinda thin, but at least, like, you attacked it with volume, so that gives you kinda some outs. With Neighbors, Evans, Jamo, I mean, that's not a bad starting 3. I would've maybe attacked it a little bit harder in those, like, middle rounds, maybe got at least, like, one more guy before where you took Kyle Williams.
Hmm.
Um
Hmm.
just getting, like, Bowers, and then even though it was an accident with Burrow, like, getting Burrow there, I think maybe you want to attack, like, that 4th receiver slot a little bit more, especially, like, with Jamel as a 3 where he's maybe a little bit more inconsistent as a player archetype.
Those are good points. Can't argue with that. Uh, I think I wanted to say, was there anyone else that we that was it. Those are the teams.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, another good draft, another fun night of drafting. Hartman, appreciate you coming on, man. Always good. 2 nights in a row now. It's a lot of fun drafts, a lot of good talking ball, getting me out of some of my picks, like I said, all good things. Super appreciate your time and all your insights. And we'll we'll do it again soon. Literally, we'll do it again soon. I said that last night and we did it the next night. So we're on to something good here. Um, what tell the chat what's going on. Tell them what you got going on. I threw your channel link in there. I want more people to subscribe to your channel. Do you have anything cooking up? Or you got any streams planned or anything's coming up on the horizon?
Uh, yeah, thanks for having me on, and, I
Of
think
course.
I'll probably stream tomorrow, maybe, like, later in the morning or, like, around noontime, Pacific time, and then I'm kinda just planning, like, I'll probably start streaming every, like, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then
Nice.
maybe just try to fit in, like, 1 through the week, like, Monday through Thursday at nighttime, kind of like those are like my work days. So I'll just try to fit it in like, maybe like one weeknight a week or something. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think I'm gonna stream. And I'll probably stream this Monday, like during the day, just since holiday. But
Nice.
try to get one in tomorrow and then Monday, maybe around like noon my time, noon Pacific.
Perfect. Yeah, so stay tuned. Subscribe to his channel, hit the bell, and I think Anthony was making a comment about. Let me change this media here with the overlay about. Don't forget that. Boom. We'll cover up Bindle's face, but Ballsy Monday night, 8:30 p.m. Central. This time on Monday, it's going to be Memorial Day, and it's going to be on Bindle's channel. So look in the description. Bindle's channel's in there. Y'all are already subbed though, but in case you haven't come across Bindles yet, and I don't know how that's possible, but if you haven't come across them, go ahead and sub to this channel. You'll catch us live Monday night if you want to tune in for that one. It should be fun. We're going to have a guest on. I don't know that we've announced it yet, but the guest was in the chat at one point. He was in the chat. So that already narrows it down, but it's someone you know, it's someone you love, and we're going to have a fun time. I'm sure, I think we're going to like shout it out tomorrow on Twitter and all these things now that Twitter's finally fixed, it seems. That's going to be a fun show, and we're going to keep these drafts rolling all summer long. So subscribe to my channel if you like to draft best ball, talk fantasy football, just hang out with some real sharp people like Hartman, like all the others in the chat. And we'll see you guys in another draft real soon. Have a great night. Have a great weekend, and peace out.